I've lost count of how many E3s I've been to at this point. It's just all a blur. Oh yeah, I know.
This is my third.
I feel like the old guy. It's number 3 for you.
Yeah.
Tamar, didn't you poop your pants during one?
That was on my. I'm on my third now. On my first one, I almost pooped my pants. It was my third week working at GameSpot.
Were you trying to like make?
I was like marking my territory. How many thousands of people are watching? Just take a quick dump on the table. No, it was like because Ty Root was running things then, and I'd never spoken to him before, and he was like, "You sit here, you do not move. If you move, you will screw this all up for us." And I was like, I really need to go to the toilet badly. And I was sandwiched between, I think I was next to Kevin at the time, and maybe Chris Waters was in the middle, and you were on the end.
I was on the edge.
And if you
Furthest away from the splash zone.
if you go back and watch that stream, just look into my eyes and notice how much I'm readjusting the way I'm sitting. Like, it was trying to compress everything and hold it in place long enough. Once that was done, I took the best dump of my whole life.
I thought you were just really excited for The Witcher 3.
No.
Speaking of, we could probably get into what we're gonna see. CD Projekt Red has said they're definitely gonna be there with an RPG, right? Which everybody is pretty much assuming it's Cyberpunk 2077. We still don't exactly know what kind of game it'll be. I mean, aside from an RPG, because they've said that.
Sure.
Yeah, sci-fi, probably a cyberpunk aesthetic, I would imagine. I mean, we don't know if it's gonna be in the vein of The Witcher 3.
They found a lot of success with Witcher 3. They have to emulate that.
It's going to be hilarious when it turns out it's an expansion for Gwent, and everyone's like, "Oh no!"
That'll be really good. That's one of the bigger things that we're expecting to definitely see.
Yeah.
Obviously, Fallout 76, which was
Fallout 76
teased today.
Yeah, today as of this recording.
In Vault 76, our future begins.
There are sources saying it's going to be an online, like, survival game inspired by DayZ and Rust.
Yeah.
Which I find pretty cool, but I imagine there will be some backlash for people who just want that Bethesda Game Studios single-player RPG, a la Fallout, Elder Scrolls.
Which could still be coming.
Yeah.
They're kind of teasing a lot of stuff before their press conference, so I feel like they're holding something back.
Yeah,
I hope so.
they have that one game which they're supposed to be making, Starfield?
Starfield.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But like this Fallout game seems like a natural evolution of Shelter. It's like they did so well with Shelter, it makes sense for them to kind of scale up, and given the trend of open world kind of survival and almost like DayZ style stuff being everywhere right now, this is the game that feels almost best suited to do it. Like, even if it's rubbish, just someone should do it just to say it's done, because we need that Fallout open world kind of like post-apocalyptic creation game. But yeah, I get the feeling that there will be some trepidation from people who are like, I want a proper Fallout game.
Or just something different in the Fallout style.
Well, while we're on Bethesda, they also announced Rage 2 with that trailer.
Yeah.
We know it's going to be an open world kind of game between collaboration between Avalanche Studios and id.
Yep.
That's about it right now. We also know it's a sequel to the 2009 game. I'm still surprised they're doing a sequel to that, but I guess that just like shows some.
I think they're just trying to play off the recognition of the brand. I don't expect they're actually.
Brand recognition with Rage?
No, I mean, it is a brand that is known, right? I mean,
exists. Okay.
Yeah. No, I think no, seriously, like it's just that's the bare minimum I think for a publisher like that these days. Especially the idea that it's going to be different. That at least gives people some context to get excited for, because. You know, best case scenario, they hold on to what did work about Rage and just spin the rest into somewhere new.
I get the feeling like they're trying to eat Borderlands lunch slightly.
Yeah.
Just be like, because Borderlands is a game that people really love, but it's just the kind of build up to it, and the sequel has been so slow and weird and muddled. I get the feeling that they could really benefit off just coming in and being like, hey, we've got a crazy apocalyptic Mad Max style game, and obviously Avalanche did Mad Max, right? So it's like them coming up and being like, that game that you like, because it's kind of Mad Maxy, we've actually got the people who made the game, and we've taken the same attitude and the style of it, and I think they could really slide in and kind of like take some mindshare away from Borderlands.
Depends on the timing,
Yeah, true.
because it's not a 2018 game. So
No.
Yeah.
But then Randy Pitchford was tweeting like, we're not going to be at E3 now, which kind of seems like they're slinking
Right,
away.
right.
or did he just say Borderlands 3?
I think he said Borderlands 3. I think there'll be some.
So maybe there's Borderlands something else.
It will be called Borderlands the Third, and it'll be like, I mean, I was true. I did a magic trick. Did you see it? I'm great for magic.
While we're on Bethesda, they've been teasing some Prey DLC news. I forgot who reviewed it for GameSpot. They were totally wrong. It was one of the best games last year.
It's me.
Oh, it's you!
100% always right. This guy.
But yeah, Prey. They're gonna have that Moon DLC. Everybody's pretty much like a poorly kept secret. They've been tweeting for like maybe 6 months now.
They shouldn't tweet about it if they want to keep it a secret.
Right. poorly kept secret, I said. But
Kept it all.
I'm personally excited to see what that is. I really liked Prey. I know there's a few of us in the office that liked it. I don't know. Are you
gonna
excited
take
at all
that?
to see
We
what they're
call
gonna
them
do?
wrong-uns where we are.
I'm really excited to see what they do with Prey.
I'm interested to see, how they add on to it, especially given how long it's been since Prey released. Like, is anyone really still thinking about that game?
Or
I
how
mean,
surprising it is that they're even doing a DLC for that game, which made almost nothing in the base from Arcane at least.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's going to be like a Death of the Outsider kind of standalone expansion.
Right.
I imagine it would be.
I mean, that was what I wanted them to do when I first played Prey, but then I was like, I don't know if they made enough money to do that. But then Bethesda's been supporting Arcane pretty well throughout the years.
And they usually put out good DLC, so I'm excited to see. I'm interested in going back to it because I'd love to see whether they follow the same style of the game or if they kind of switch it up in terms of tone.
Taking any feedback into account
Yeah,
too,
exactly.
right?
The
Yeah.
feedback. If they could get rid of those damn mimics, or at least make them interesting in some meaningful way, I'm up for it. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
My dream would be to see Doom 2. I don't know what the
Who's the guy who
likeness
did the
is.
music? Because when
Gordon?
Mick Gordon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
because when Pete Hines was like, "Oh, we're gonna have our press conference here," like Mick Gordon was like, "Oh, really looking forward to it, winky face or something." I was
There's
like,
also Quake, right? They're making
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Quick Champions. Isn't
Yeah.
that out?
Champions.
Is that-
No, it's not
Oh,
out.
they announced the new Quake last year, didn't they?
Yeah. Quick Champions.
Completely forgot about it until
Yep.
right this moment. So maybe
Glad
we'll
you
see
brought
that.
it up, I would've moved on.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was like a beta for that.
Oh, that's what I'm
Yeah,
thinking
Oh,
of.
okay. All right.
I
Then.
should know these things.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving on from Bethesda, we got EA will have Anthem. Just this morning as well, they tweeted out it looked like kind of a Matrix-looking code falling into place saying decoding twice. You didn't see that?
I saw it, but I don't understand.
Oh,
it. Like,
yeah. I don't know what that's going to be about. It's just pretty much them teasing that they're going to be at E3, which we
I'm
expected.
really interested in Anthem because, like, Blizzard.
Blizzard.
Been thinking about Blizzard so much recently, I can't even say any other B words. BioWare has really taken a hit lately. The star has fallen for them. This is kind of, to me, a big make or break moment for them. Like, they need to put out a solid, good game that hooks people. Otherwise, the prestige is starting to kind of like fall off around BioWare.
Hey, Paul. You ready to go?
We're just grabbing some supplies. Just about ready.
What are you gonna use today?
I decided to go with the Colossus.
I'm gonna use my Ranger. Try out some new upgrades.
Yeah, I'm curious to see like how all the reaction to Star Wars. I mean, obviously they're not related, but the economics of a game coming out of EA, especially a big one like Anthem, I'm curious to see how that's maybe shifted. I guess we'll probably never know what might have changed, but
And like I'm hoping they're looking at Destiny. I mean, they've had 2 Destinies to look at. If that is the type of game that they're going for, they've had 2 Destinies to look at and see like what are the issues here, what do people like, and kind of use that as a jumping off point for their experience. So I'm hoping that they're doing that and we get something a little more, long term out of it. I really want to kind of sink myself into a new BioWare world.
Yeah.
I played Andromeda and it crushed my soul.
but that's the thing though. I don't want to lose like everything that usually makes a BioWare game special, which is its single player. And so I hope we kind of get more details about how that aspect of it. Because what was that game they announced where it was like there would be a single player campaign, but it was like the asymmetrical multiplayer. It's like Shadow Realms or something. Like,
sounds vaguely
Yeah,
familiar.
Yeah, and
sounds
it was
vaguely
like-
familiar.
and they were gonna try and balance multiplayer and a single player.
yeah.
I'm with you though. If they could take what people like about Destiny and those kind of games and then implement it into the BioWare formula, which lately hasn't really held much clout.
Like, BioWare's strength is storytelling and like single player campaigns. Destiny's, for me, one of its biggest weaknesses. That stuff is completely throwaway for me. Like, I do not care about anything that happens in Destiny beyond shooting stuff and getting new loot. So if they could come in and be like, hey, we've created a good story and a proper world for you to actually sink your teeth into, more meaningful than having the traveler just floating there for no apparent reason for years and years, that could be a big deal for someone like me. And I really hope, I love BioWare and I want to see them succeed. As I love most game companies, I want to see them succeed. More than anyone, I want to see BioWare kind of hit their stride again, because when BioWare puts out a good game, it's like it's a special thing.
The thing that struck me when they showed it off last year was the mobility throughout the world.
Yeah.
That's my big question mark, because that's the sort of thing that can really hook me in a game, right? Like that excellent feeling of movement and how the world can facilitate that and allow you to go through it, right? And experience all it has to offer in different ways. If that's clunky, I would probably have to not even I'd probably write it off, even if the story was good.
And it's like they don't have a great history with mobility in that style. Like you think of the jetpack in Andromeda or the Mako's jetpacks.
But this looks so much more involved. This looks like a way different scale. They must have like brought in new people to do it.
Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Because the upgrades will all be based on your exosuit, right? And so there's 4 classes. I forget what they're actually called, but you know, obviously Destiny has the 3. So it does seem like it is their Destiny killer, if you want to call it that, to be reductive. But EA will also be showing Battlefield 5, more of it at EA Play the weekend at the beginning of E3. We saw that trailer they showed during DICE conference, which didn't really say much. The trailer looked like an action movie. People got annoyed because they didn't think it was historically accurate, which Battlefield multiplayer has never been.
It's because they're idiots, Michael.
Yeah, I know.
The thing that struck me about it was a little more playful than I expected it to be. Like there was a bit where a guy was like injured and a medic was running by and he was like, I need a med kit, and the guy just replied like, sorry mate, no time. It was like weirdly Fortnite-ish in terms of the way it was toned, and like I was like, oh, this is an interesting thing to lead with for Battlefield, because usually they're like very straight, you know, serious shooter, like doing crazy things but being like tonally very like, this is a war, we're gonna do war stuff. But here it's like a little more playful, which is weird for me, and I kind of like it. I like that they're leaning into it, because that's ultimately what you want to do, right? That gif of a guy on a horse with a flamethrower is what I want to do in Battlefield. So
Not historically accurate.
I do not care.
It seems like they're being more honest about how people play those multiplayer games. It keeps reminding me of like Trevor from GTA 5. He's like a character that makes sense. Square Enix is having their own press conference this year for the first time in a few years. We got Kingdom Hearts 3, which is probably, Lucy, I know you want to talk about Kingdom Hearts 3.
I played it, man. A couple weeks ago, we went to that event in Santa Monica.
Yep.
Got to play it for like an hour. Like, if you are familiar with Kingdom Hearts, then you'll be fine. But I am interested in seeing how people who haven't grown up with Kingdom Hearts are going to take to it, because it feels very PS2. Looks incredible, but also, and the way they've done the characters is great, like very, very authentic, like the way they did the Toy Story characters. But at the same time, they added in like just the most incredible anime nods. Like, they will have a conversation, and then Rex will go, or something, or like, I don't know, and the writing is very much, you know, that we talk, like someone's gone missing, and then, you know, Sora will go, but he's my friend, we have to go find him. It's very Japanese.
こんにちは。俺は空だよ。君は人間を見ても平気なんだね。マイクはザスケ。違うよ、ブー。俺がマイクだよ。マイクはザスケ。
But it is like what Lucy said is 100% true. It feels like a Kingdom Hearts game. The camera's slightly wonky and requires a little more micromanaging than you'd like. The combat is kind of like very floaty, and you know the style, like the chain style stuff, which if you know Kingdom Hearts, it makes perfect sense and it feels familiar. But I'm interested. I think they're gonna really lean into kind of selling the kind of attachment to characters more so than ever, and I think it makes me think that they're gonna have a lot of recent popular characters, like really focus on like the Frozen characters or the Tangled characters or whatever it may be. Yeah, Big Hero 6, and use that to kind of bring more people in.
But that's good, because Kingdom Hearts, like the numbered 1 and 2, and then you had all those spin-offs, and they have used the same worlds to death. Like, if I have to go to Agrabah one more time, I swear to God.
Like, to be fair, I don't care about Kingdom Hearts anymore. Seriously, like it's about damn time that they show something about Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah. If they don't, they run the serious risk of people just laughing at them like more than they already are. They've changed teams once. They kicked CyberConnect 2 out. They have, you know, thrown around like pretty broad statements about what the game's going to be and what it's going to entail. We have to see something, and I really hope it's not just another CGI, out of engine sort of thing.
I hope it's not, but I get the feeling it will be. Like, there's something about it that kind of stuff, the changing teams and that kind of business. I feel like if it required a kind of gameplay revamp of sorts, they're gonna lean on something easy sellable.
Yeah, but like the thing that would really, I think, get fans really stoked. I don't know how much you guys care about Final Fantasy VII, right? But like showing how the materia system works, how mixing and matching materia can then be turned into gameplay, even if it's just basic examples like that. I don't need like a 20-minute, consecutive like gameplay recording. Like, get into the nitty-gritty. Actually speak to the fans and show something other than Cloud's face in Midgar.
And then the thing is like, do you think they would go as hard on Final Fantasy VII if they're gonna go hard?
No, I know,
Kingdom
right?
Hearts?
There is that sort of.
I think it's only like an hour as well, so it's like.
Yeah, it's a tough balance, but they have other press conferences as well. There's obviously Sony's; they can lean into that. But yeah, obviously, Final Fantasy VII could appear at any of the publisher or platform holders' press conferences.
Because 15 was on Microsoft a couple of years ago, right?
Yeah,
So.
and Microsoft needs to cater to Japanese fans, I think, if they want to stay competitive, or they can just continue down the path they're doing right now, which is sort of, taking the rug out from Sony by giving people services that work really well. Maybe Microsoft can do something else along that route. I don't want to see another Halo 6. I don't know about you guys. I don't care about Microsoft sequels like that because, oh my God, how many more games do we need with Master Chief specifically?
You
How
will
many
see
more?
6.
We
Going
will?
to.
That's happening?
6, and they have to. That I'd say guaranteed. Halo 6. I would not be totally surprised to see Gears of War 5 announced. 4 was how many years ago? 2. I think they're I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, I know.
But
And I
you're
know
gonna
they get
see
a
that.
lot of hate from people for saying I don't give a shit. But seriously, do something surprising.
Yeah, I'm curious
Seriously.
because Scalebound got canceled a couple years ago. That was a new IP. They're gonna show Ori and the Blind Forest 2, which I'm really excited for, but that's not huge.
No.
And I want Microsoft to show something crazy. I want them to surprise people because, it does.
That's what everyone else does.
Yeah, I want them. They're gonna show Halo 6. They're gonna show. They might show Gears of War 5 or something. They're gonna show Ori and the Blind Forest 2. I want them to surprise us, but I don't know what they would show right now.
They have was it Playground doing an open world RPG of sorts? Because Playground, the Forza Horizon guys were hiring for a not Forza game, I think it's an RPG of sorts. So that could show. I feel like it's still too early for that to pop up, but that could be one of the things that they very briefly tease. But I agree with Peter. I will play some Halo if you put some Halo in front of me. But if they show it on the stage, I will not be excited.
They'll show Crackdown 3 as well.
Then there was the rumors going around today.
Yeah,
the Amazon are cancelling Crackdown pre-orders for this year.
Which means
another delay.
But then it could be something to do with Amazon and Sony when people's stuff was getting cancelled, and that's a weird thing.
I can't. Gears of War is fine, but I cannot deal with another Gears of War being the centerpiece. Microsoft really, really need to show they have games. They've built a lot of momentum by being.
Show they have new ideas.
Yeah. They built some momentum by being here's the Xbox One X, which is the best way to play 4K games or whatever. But they've had little to nothing to kind of really entice me into buying one of those. I'm fine with my current Xbox One X. I need some new games, need some new IPs, need some new ideas. And if they don't have that, I think they're gonna have a really rough E3.
Sea of Thieves was a really great attempt.
Yeah.
Do something as unexpected as that.
Yeah, I agree.
I think that's maybe not my number one dream for this E3, but I've been pretty critical of Microsoft over the years, like a lot of people, but I think I'm always rooting for them, and I want them. I think my number one wish at this E3 is that, like you said, Microsoft does something super surprising, and I'm happy coming out of E3 about Microsoft. All right, what about Sony? They've got a few things we could talk about.
Yeah, I've already said Ghost of Tsushima, Death Stranding, Spider-Man, and Last of Us 2. Probably Days Gone as well.
Yeah, Days Gone. That's spring 2019, I believe. Game Informer has had a ton of footage. I have never seen a game show that much footage this early.
First hour already, right?
Oh, it's more than that too. They gave them each the controller for a while. I'm weirdly excited for that game. I know a lot of people are tired of zombies, but I think if they can do new things with that game, the open world survival, which has been done, but if they can introduce enough new ideas, I'll be on board for that game next year.
Yeah, I'm all about Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
I know Peter, you're the same. I've been begging and pleading for a new Tenchu game, and although this isn't that, it's just close enough. And a stealth game, that studio makes incredibly interesting open worlds, and they do traversal really well, which is one thing that we talked about before. Right. Between Infamous and Sly and that kind of stuff, they do traversal so well. And the idea of a samurai becoming a ninja story. The stuff they could introduce with that, with free running, or even I loved in Tenchu just grappling up onto a roof and running around, and that was my favorite thing to do. So that game is all my attention is on that game. I want to see what it's got. I love stealth games.
What are the odds that we're going to see gameplay of Death Stranding? I say no.
No.
I say no. Yeah.
I agree. Just play devil's advocate. What could they show? Anything? that would paint an idea of what this game is
The
outside
first
of
5 minutes.
Yeah, outside of Kojima's, you know, like
I
this
think
guy's smart, but it's always like it seems like delusions of grandeur at first until we see more of whatever he's doing.
every time I try to think about what that gameplay could be, I always just my frame of reference is old Metal Gear stuff.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can find in there is that Metal Gear Solid 3 minigame Snake's Nightmare, which is the weird like action game that you wake up into and kill zombies and that kind of stuff. So that's currently my kind of template for what it could be, but I think that's a bit too I think that's a bit too simple. Like
There's
gonna
still
do
the whole like rope and stick thing that he's been going on about for years. And,
I think we will see gameplay of Last of Us though.
Yeah.
I feel like this is the perfect time. Get everyone excited. Probably show closer, maybe.
What is it? Is that this year still? Or
No,
was that ever this
I
year?
reckon it'll be next year. Like I don't think they've properly said. I'd say.
Yeah.
They
But
set the tone with the last two trailers, especially the last one. Like they were just
I was
that last
gonna
one was
say
just
one.
they were going all in on the brutal aspects of it.
Yeah,
But we know, like,
it'll be
Joel and Ellie
interesting
will come
to
back.
see if they do a similar thing now with that, because there was quite a lot of backlash to that trailer. So I wonder how they approach showing a new trailer, because if that is the overall tone of the game, like it's really raw and rough, and then they'd have to almost double down on it. So it could kind of define the discussion around their press conference if they really do double down on it.
But then how are they going to balance that with like the levity of Spider-Man?
Like a hard cut after
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
Like Spider-Man, hey!
long break where it's like disclosure, and then not the band, just a disclosure thing. And it's been like,
But
this is
also-
about to get bad, so careful.
So Spider-Man will play later this year, right?
Yeah.
Is it November?
Spider-Man's out soon. So
Speaking of Game Informer showing stuff, they showed a
Yeah.
lot more of that game. I'm excited for that game.
I saw mine. Like,
Yeah, I like
Spider-Man-
Insomniac stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm worried about the combat, but
yeah,
traversal looks good.
yeah, traversals. There's like they do traversal again very well, and there's some. One of the things that I really hope they've done is like the Amazing Spider-Man games. Like there was 2 of them. They're not
The
great
Activision
games. The Activision. They're not great games, but they did swinging really well in a way. It did like the behind-the-shoulder camera, and like when you swung, you'd come really close to the ground, and it'd like come up behind you and follow you around. I think that's got some of the best like momentum based swinging and the cinematics of it. So I hope they're taking a cue from that, and also they're like building their own combat system. I don't know how I feel, but it looks like it's more environment based, where you're grabbing stuff and throwing it around. Yeah,
hopefully that works.
and it's written in part by Dan Slott, who wrote Superior Spider-Man, and that is an excellent series. So I'm kind of hopeful for the actual story as well. And Superior Spider-Man was Dr. Octopus becoming Spider-Man, because he switched bodies with Peter Parker. So he gets weird as well.
Okay.
So it could be interesting from a story perspective.
All right, moving on to the last of the big 3. We got Nintendo.
Yeah.
What
I care
Smash
about-
Bros?
Smash.
Don't
Smash.
care. It's Metroid Prime 4.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Metroid Prime. We'll get back
We
to
know
Smash.
what Smash
but
is.
yeah,
We know
yeah,
what
yeah,
Smash
yeah.
is so much. Metroid Prime 4 is the big question.
Yeah.
Who the hell is making it? Will it actually star Samus? Because there's a huge number of rumors pointing to this new character, Sylux, being heavily involved. And what better way to switch things up than to have that be the main character? He is a bounty hunter.
Right.
He is Samus's adversary.
Right.
Maybe they could work in tandem, or maybe they'll be against each other. I would love to see something crazy like that.
One of my favorite Metroid games, and I know it's not a popular one, is Metroid Fusion.
Yeah.
And the evil Samus.
Right.
I'd love if they did that, like proper lean into the survival horror angle and have like an evil Samus again, like Parasite X Samus rolling around in a Metroid Prime style.
Or maybe have Samus in Sylux's backyard and have Sylux just screw with you.
Yeah,
the entire
exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Just be a menace.
That like treat another character like the Nemesis from
Right.
Resident Evil
Right.
or Parasite Samus, and that is one of my favorite games, and I'd love for them to switch it up. I would love a different character as well, yeah, because I love when series kind of present a different take on a character you love. And Metal Gear Solid 2 with Raiden, everyone hates Raiden, but the great thing about Raiden is you get to experience what it's like to be next to Snake.
Yeah.
And there's few characters as like competent and like revered as Samus, so to be able to see her like operate from another person's perspective would be really interesting, especially in a game like Prime. Yeah, so I don't
Yes,
think
Smash. There'll be
I
Smash.
don't
Yeah, I
think
mean Smash.
I don't think we'll see much Prime though.
Oh, you don't?
No, I think this
know.
will be a Smash.
I think this will be the Smash, yeah, and maybe some like Mario stuff. But I as much as I hate it, the idea of it, I don't think we're gonna see much Prime.
So just last night, as of this recording, we saw all the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee news, as well as what Pokemon Quest,
yep.
the mobile.
That's out today. It's
Right.
on Switch.
Yeah.
It's nothing special.
So that's not the big Switch title they've been working on. Do you think they'll show anything off with that at E3, especially coming off these announcements last night so soon after?
I think they might leave these ones to breathe, and then they'll do a cursory like, oh, but you know, we're still working on this one.
Yeah, I think the way that the Pokemon Go, the 2 new Go games look is that they actually look what I was imagining a Switch Pokemon game would look like.
Yeah.
So I don't imagine they could go too far away from that and really wow us.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, let these breathe and sort of use this as the foundation and take the learnings from it to then.
Seems like they've said they're also trying to introduce the huge Pokemon Go audience into more mainstream, or maybe not mainstream, into more mainline Pokemon games, especially with the actual capturing of Pokemon in the game is more Go influenced.
And just sell Switches so there's people buy other games too.
That too.
Nintendo's tricky though, because remember last year they revealed the new Metroid game when no one was looking.
Oh, and it came out 2 months after.
So we
and
were
it was
like,
fantastic.
They could do similar things with that. Like I imagine it's going to be the Smash show mostly, but people should be keeping an eye on the Treehouse stuff afterwards.
Oh yeah, they always do something. The past few years, they've always done something.
Bring back WarioWare.
They've already talked about WarioWare.
Really?
On 3DS.
Oh no, I mean the Switch one.
Do you think we'll see anything else from the 3DS aside from that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're still
Nintendo
keep
is
pushing
not
hard.
quitting on that. No.
Yeah. I'm glad. I love 3DS. But as far as Smash goes, are you of the mind that it'll just be the Wii U version with new characters put on the Switch, or like full-on Super Smash Bros. Skirmish, brouhaha?
They'll build on top of the Switch, the Wii U foundation. There'd be no reason to scrap it. I don't think anyone thinks that it's like worth starting over.
Oh yeah, I think the Wii U version, aside from Melee, is like one of the more revered ones.
Yeah, and even then they could tweak it a little bit. They wouldn't have to just start from scratch.
Yeah, new characters, like a fresh coat of paint, and you can. I mean, they've been making the same game for years. Like so, I'm sure if they gave us the exact same game on Switch, most people would be happy. But they'll go a little bit extra. And
You're gonna get a lot of shit for saying that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I will get a lot of shit for
Last
saying that.
press conference that we didn't talk about, third party Ubisoft. Division 2 is probably their big thing, which I'm actually excited for. I returned to the Division recently, and after all those updates, I mean, it was a good game to begin with. It just wasn't what a lot of people expected. I think a lot of people expected this post-apocalyptic co-op, open-world story-driven kind of thing. I'm actually pretty excited for the Division 2 to see what they do, specifically with the Dark Zone, because that was a cool idea. That was like their shared multiplayer. You can kind of turn on people. It was almost like a more in-depth battle royale. Almost, you can turn on people, you can help them out. Usually, it was a little bit broken when it first came out, and now they've refined it. But I'm curious to see what they do with the Division 2 to kind of build upon the foundation. It reminds me of Destiny because it was a lot of the ideas there were new. It didn't just seem like they were shaped to the way they needed to be. I'm curious if they'll go the Destiny 2 route and kind of backtrack a little bit and annoy some people, or if they'll just keep building on the solid foundation they've built, especially after all those expansions.
It's gonna be interesting. It's like between that and Anthem, there's a lot of similar experiences coming together. What Ubisoft are? I mean, they're known for committing to games long term, so I expect we'll spend some time on the existing games like For Honor, Siege definitely. Like there should be some more Siege stuff.
They're also gonna have
third year or whatever. Right?
They're also gonna have one last push for Crew 2 because that comes out a couple weeks after.
Wildlands is still out there. I don't know if they're how committed to that they are.
They're
but
gonna
like,
do more wacky DLC like the Predator stuff.
maybe, yeah. But like apparently that like Division, that game has changed significantly and it's really good now. It's one of those games that I've been meaning to go back to. But that could get like if they want to show off that game and show like, oh, this is better now and it's really cool, now would be the time to do it. Like get some new
Far
DLC.
Cry 5 as well, maybe. Yeah.
Oh, they have another DLC
They
coming.
have the
with
Vietnam one that they showed,
Okay.
which looks huge. It's like an actual world, but then they have Mars and zombies.
Yeah.
I don't know what the order is. I think I'd mix those two up. I really want to see Splinter Cell, along with I know like Jake is a diehard Splinter Cell fan. It seems about time, and it's also they put Sam Fisher in Ghost Recon Wildlands.
Yeah.
Of all games, I would love to see them do a new mainline Splinter Cell. The last one was Blacklist, which I really liked. It's not my favorite, but it was really good. I would like to see them do something new with that. It's been a while.
There'll be that VR game, the Elijah Wood horror game.
Oh, I thought you were saying Elijah Wood would be in the new Splinter Cell.
No, he's in that. He's in like.
That would be amazing. I would play that. Oh my god, he's Sam Fisher's son. and Sam has to kind of like train him to be an operative.
Move on from this nightmare.
I've lost the direction.
What about their like any Watch Dogs, any Assassin's Creed this year? Assassin's Creed Origins was last 2 years ago.
Probably AC.
No,
They do some.
Origins was last year.
It was last year.
But I
because they
think
took the year off.
they'll get-
I'm curious to see if they can build on the momentum of Origins or if they'll fall back into that lackadaisical annual release malaise.
Yeah,
What a mouthful.
Woo.
Yeah.
Big words there.
They've talked about, like, there was a lot of discussion about Assassin's Creed moving towards a Witcher direction, and I think like I hope they continue to move towards that way. I think Origins was a good start for it. I think like some stronger quests and stronger dialogue and like kind of cleaning up the way kind of it's presented and kind of like the rough, smoothing out the rough edges. If they keep going towards that, I think they'll be in a good place, and hopefully like this year's, if they have one, it will be another step towards that. So I'm excited to see where they go, because it's going to be a good indication of what Assassin's Creed's future will look like.
So if there's going to be Assassin's Creed, you probably wouldn't expect anything from Watch Dogs for a while then.
No,
if they did a Watch Dogs.
Yeah, I think Watch Dogs is on a. Watch Dogs 2 did well, right? And so like, I think they'll take the time to kind of like build on that and do something different. They want to move another city again, and introduce new characters and stuff. So who knows?
Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't, like, their announcement did nothing for me. In fact, it actually turned me off the game.
It made me feel cold when I watched it. I was like, you have. Oh man. It just seemed like everything that everyone loved about Beyond Good and Evil, they just ripped out. Watching the streams that they're doing as well, it's just like they're speaking and they're saying stuff and they're showing like 20-second long clips. And I can't get a feel for what it is.
No.
And that original trailer when they were like, the monkeys were swearing and all these like, oh, you can go from the ground to the ship and you can have dogfights or whatever. I was like, what happened to just taking pictures of animals and hitting people with a stick?
Read my page. So when did they first announce that? That was like was that last year?
It's last year, I believe.
Yeah, I went to see it and that game did not exist. Like, I was looking at it, that was not a game. It was an idea that someone had very quickly cobbled together in an engine. And they showed me pictures, like this is artwork for it, and there was no clear vision of what it would be. You know, Ansel was there talking, and it was like what Lucy was saying. He was speaking. What he was saying was not making sense at all, and I don't feel like they've moved forward in any meaningful way. I feel like they're kind of like they're trying to cash in on trends almost, like this open world stuff and freedom and that kind of business, but I don't know why they've decided to attach Beyond Good and Evil 2 to it. Like it's
I mean the reason is Vivendi.
I mean that is the reason, yeah. But like it seems like a really weird thing to do. Like
we won't hear anything about it.
Yeah, maybe we won't. I feel like if they did, it will be another short thing, like a trailer, and they'll talk a lot about it. But we will still leave that presentation not knowing what Beyond Good and Evil 2 is, and worst case, not wanting Beyond Good and Evil 2.
Alright, as far as what I'm most excited for, I don't know if it's going to be there. I would love to see a new mainline Splinter Cell. I think that's my dream announcement this E3. Yeah. Tomorrow, what are you most excited for, or what do you hope to see?
Ghost of Tsushima. Like, Splinter Cell again, but another stealth game. And that studio is incredible, so I'm excited for Ghost of Tsushima.
Lucy, what about you?
I want to see more of Last of Us, and I want a release date for Kingdom Hearts. It's been 12 years.
Please.
It's been 12 years.
And you recently played it, so you're even more
Yeah,
excited.
I actually cried when I heard the music. Which, to be honest, I did not expect to hit me.
Yeah, I warned you. Yeah. It was, it was a moment. Like, you put the headphones on, I was like, okay, I still care. It was... They played Dearly Beloved at the title screen, and I remembered that how much I cared about it when it started playing, and I was like...
Yeah. It's because I played 2, a very formative part of my life, and I just feel like I'm so intrinsically tied to at least that song and that game. Yeah, and also it's because it's taking the piss now.
I'm the same with Metal Gear 2, so whenever I see Raiden slip on bird shit, I'm like...
Peter Brown, what about you this year?
For me, I'm just a Nintendo dork. I really want to see exactly everything they're going to show. If I had to sort of assume that some unannounced thing, would materialize, I would hope it is a Zelda on 3DS that incorporates some of the elemental mixing from Breath of the Wild in an interesting way. I think that could be a thing. If they want to keep people interested in 3DS, Zelda's probably the way to do it.
Link Between Worlds, like going back on 3DS, is one of my favorite Zeldas.
Not me.
Well, hopefully this one saves her. Anyway, after that, Cool. Well, E3's in what? As of this recording, E3's in like
10 days.
10 days.
10 days
Nice.
for the
Big clock over there.
Oh shit,
My
we
body
got a
is ready.
countdown.
Yeah, buddy is rich.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm hoping we see more Just Dance.
Don't shit yourself.
I will do my best not to poop myself.
And don't poop yourself.
Yeah.
On at least when I'm on
Make
set.
no promises.
For the last 2 decades, some of the biggest gaming news and reveals have come during the Electronic Entertainment Expo, or E3, the yearly video game industry trade show where the newest titles and products are on full display, many for the first time. But even though the show has drawn tens of thousands of people to its convention centers every summer, the show itself has gone through a whole lot of changes during its 22-year-long run. So let's take a look back at the history of E3 and maybe laugh at all the dorky 90s outfits while we're at it.
Strap yourself in, because we're going to E3.
Okay, so here we are in 1985. The gaming industry was attempting to recover from the market crash 2 years prior, and CES, the Consumer Electronics Show, was the primary convention for hardware makers to show off the newest consoles and games. Video games would continue to thrive after the release of the Nintendo Entertainment System, but there still wasn't a dedicated gaming convention for all the newest releases. For the next 10 years, they had to share the spotlight with the latest televisions, cameras, and the Batmobile. And so that brings us to 1995, right in the middle of the decade. A 19-year-old Tiger Woods was dominating the amateur golf world, Bill Gates was busy launching the newest version of Windows with Jay Leno for some reason, but more importantly, the Interactive Digital Software Association, now known as the Entertainment Software Association, or ESA, was quietly putting together the biggest video game trade show in the world.
I'm Kurt Loder with MTV News. Connoisseurs of video games, computer effluvia, and all the latest in electronic gizmo mania converged on Los Angeles last week for the annual Electronic Entertainment Expo, better known as E3.
Okay, 50,000 members of the press in its first year is hardly quiet. In fact, the gaming world got an earful of big console announcements from the 3 biggest publishers at the time: Sony, SEGA, and Nintendo. During E3 1995, Sony revealed the original PlayStation's release date and price. The Sega Saturn, for some reason, started immediately shipping to retailers, and Nintendo showcased the Virtual Boy. I guess 1 out of 3 ain't bad. And that was in addition to all the third-party developers who also showed up. 3DO, Capcom, Activision, EA, and Squaresoft all attended, but their presence was dwarfed by none other than Acclaim, who brought in over 15 different games to the show. E3's first year ended up being one of the biggest gaming conventions to date and encouraged the organizers to continue having the show in Los Angeles every summer. And they did, for the next 2 years at least. While sunny California might have been the perfect spot for E3, due to some unfortunate negotiation problems, the location was actually moved to Atlanta, Georgia for 1997 and 1998. Nevertheless, E3 continued to grow in size, and upon returning to the LA Convention Center, the attendance remained at a steady 60 to 70,000 people strong. That's quite a lot of people, but there were quite a lot of games there as well. E3 1999 featured Sega's new Dreamcast console in full force, as well as some previews of Sony's new PlayStation. At E3 2000, we saw the first appearance of computer software giant Microsoft, who were preparing for the release of their first video game console, the Xbox.
And you'll be able to get a box just like this, with Xbox in it.
E3 2001 was the final appearance of Sega as a console maker after making the decision to focus on software only. But we also got the first look at Nintendo's latest system, the GameCube, as well as the first trailer for Super Smash Bros. Melee, which, by the way, is still one of the biggest fighting games today. So the new big 3, Sony, Nintendo, and now Microsoft, kind of cruised along for a few years. It wasn't until E3 2006 that Sony decided to make history with one of the weirdest press conferences ever.
Game is powered by Namco. It's Ridge Racer. Ridge Racer! Remember that one?
The stages of the game will also be based on famous battles which actually took place in ancient Japan. So here's this giant enemy crab.
Was the unintentional goofiness of Sony's press conference the tipping point? Probably not, but the giant enemy crabs sure didn't help anything.
I'll switch over to Yoshitsune, hop on its stomach, and you attack its weak point for massive damage.
The following year, citing budget issues among some publishers, Then ESA president Doug Lowenstein announced that E3 would now be a smaller, more intimate event with an invite-only list of about 10,000 people. This shift essentially shut out many bloggers and non-industry professionals that had attended the show in previous years. And with a new look, also came a new name, E3 Media and Business Summit. Also, E3 that year wasn't held at the typical Los Angeles Convention Center, nor was it held in any sort of central location at all. It was actually spread across different venues and locations in Santa Monica, and if you weren't part of the industry at the time, you probably wouldn't have even realized it was happening. Gone were the gaudy displays and sensory overload of previous years, and in their place were hotel ballrooms and Jamie Kennedy.
From Neversoft, which, wasn't that the first name for Viagra? I don't...
Despite the changes being made to try and improve the show, it was still an exceedingly tough time for E3, with Sims creator Will Wright saying that the conference, quote, almost feels like a zombie at this point. But hey, at least we got a few memes out of the deal.
My body is ready.
Thankfully for Will Wright and many other people who once enjoyed attending E3, the show was actually opened back up to a larger audience in 2009, with over 40,000 people coming back to check out the latest games, such as Metal Gear Rising, Final Fantasy XIV, and Super Mario Galaxy 2. The slight misstep didn't seem to matter all that much, as E3 continued to be the biggest name in gaming trade shows, though there has been no shortage of awkward press conferences in the years since. There was Ubisoft's in 2015.
Do you have a meme you want to pitch?
Oh. We had Mr. Caffeine in 2011.
Everyone do it with me. I said everyone go.
And of course, Konami's in 2010.
This is not originally hack and slash anymore. This is an extreme hack and slash title.
But as we all know, E3 isn't about memes. Mostly. With a 22-year history behind it, there have also been changes in the way publishers approach the show. Companies like Ubisoft have continuously attempted to bring more personality and humor to their press conferences, though their success rate is up for debate, and Nintendo stopped doing live press conferences entirely in 2013 to focus on their pre-recorded showcases, dubbed Nintendo Direct. And in 2017, E3 itself changed everything by opening its doors to the public for the very first time, meaning that anyone was able to buy tickets and attend the show. But even through all its ups and downs, E3 has been and continues to be a place for media, publishers, and now the gaming public to gather and celebrate video games in all their wonderful, and sometimes weird, glory. So here's to more E3, to more jaw-dropping reveals, more awkward moments and goofy press conferences, and most importantly, more games.
Next, check out our full body motion capture. So, as you can see, when I start making movements with my avatar, it instantly mimics me on screen. You ever wonder what the bottom of an avatar shoe looks like? Well, bam! There it is.
Hi, I'm John Warner, game director for Anthem. Here is the world premiere of Anthem's gameplay.
Hey!
Freelancer.
Fraxley,
Listen, there's trouble. Big trouble.
what did you do?
I made a mistake. I hired some people. They weren't freelancers. I know. They said they could handle it, and the price was right. I thought maybe...
Unbelievable.
You're right. It was stupid. I'm sorry. But they're still out there. Somewhere. If you could just bring them back. Anything you need.
In the world of Anthem, you and your friends are freelancers, the heroes who leave the safety of the walls of Fort Tarsus to explore the unknown and protect humanity. Let's join 2 players as they head out on an expedition.
Hey, Paul. You ready to go?
We're just grabbing some supplies. Just about ready.
What are you going to use today?
I decided to go with the Colossus.
I'm going to use my Ranger. Try out some new upgrades.
Every player will own an array of exosuits we call Javelins. These suits give players superhuman capabilities and are heavily customizable so they look and play how you want.
Bam. Looking good. Nice. You've got a mortar equipped.
Yeah, I got it on the weekend. You lead the way, I'll follow.
This is a vast open world you explore with your friends. Each Javelin exosuit has its own unique playstyle. The Ranger is balanced and all-purpose, while the Colossus is a tanking powerhouse.
All right. Let's see what's up here.
The world of Anthem is hostile, and threats can come from any direction. This dynamic world where the unexpected is around every corner.
Yeah, he seems like a problem for another day.
We're getting some fire from up ahead.
I'll go low. You flank.
Hang in there. Almost there. Have you been in there yet?
I haven't. We should do that later with Kim.
Yeah, you could use the XP. Hello, treasure. I think we got some action ahead.
Anyone, we're under attack. Anyone in the area, we're under attack.
I think that's part of Praxis' mission.
You can equip your Javelin exosuit with gear that brings devastating power to combat.
Oh, there are a lot of scars down there. Oh, the scars have a heavy.
I have time to use that mortar. Give me some covering fire. There's a bunch more coming in.
Okay, I'll get this round.
Thanks.
Oh, come on. Be something good. Oh, yes! Jerry's wrap.
Oh, nice.
Large-scale world events like Shaper Storms are dynamic and pull you off the beaten path with the promise of new stories to discover.
Oh, Shipper Storm incoming. Okay, actually, let's get some more people. Hold on a sec.
Hey guys, what's up?
What press conference is this? Hey everyone, welcome to GameSpot's coverage of E3 2018. We are going to be live with EA's press conference in about half an hour. But first, we are going to be talking here at GameSpot about our hopes and dreams for the press conference and pretty much kick off coverage for the next, 6 days? So welcome. I'm Mike Mahardy here with Lucy James.
Hello.
Rob Hanlery.
How are you?
And Tamor Hussein.
Hello.
We've got about half an hour to talk over EA. There's kind of a lot to talk about, actually. Rob, you're a huge Star Wars fan. You think we're going to see... Well, we definitely will see what... was it the one EA Motive's been working on?
That or... what Respawn's doing, right?
Yeah, because so Respawn said they're going to say... Vince Zampella yesterday was tweeting saying, we're going to... we have something about our one of 3 projects in the works that we'll be talking about.
Yeah.
So that's either Titanfall 3, the Star Wars game, or...
some VR, that VR
game,
like
yeah.
I want to say it's like a super realistic
military shooter.
Yeah. I don't know.
Titanfall 3, we saw some weird, disturbing rumors yesterday. Maybe not disturbing, but we saw some rumors about Battle Royale yesterday. Wondering
There was a... It's not even worth talking about in a way. It looked really fake, but it was like a very... using the same art style as like Fortnite.
And the same
looked like a
title
battle
font.
royale. Yeah, I saw it on the Titanfall subreddit, which I love because I love that game so much.
Yeah,
People
so
were
EA
like, fake. It was
EA
scary.
officially bought Respawn, what was that, last year? 2 years ago? Last year, I think?
Not that long ago.
So people were a bit worried about what they would do with loot crates and whatnot. But I think they've, based on Battlefield 5, which we can also talk about, DICE is saying they learned a lot from Battlefront 2's loot box.
I think everyone learned a lot from that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
everyone is learning many things about that controversy, and they have walked that back quite significantly. So I expect games like Titanfall 3 or whatever it may be, and future first-person shooters from DICE and EA for a little while won't have any major microtransaction monetization, stuff like that. They need to earn some goodwill before they start thinking about bringing that back in. And I'm sure that they're going to spend a few years doing that.
Titanfall 2 had it down too, as far as their microtransactions. Just purely cosmetic. If you want that secondary skin, then
Which
you go
bought
for
a
it.
lot of.
Yeah.
The Prime chassis.
But gladly, because I love that game. You know, that's a cool distinction. Is like to be able to like support a game in that way.
Yeah.
If you really care about it.
Really quick before we get deeper into like discussion about the games, we do have a hashtag GameSpot E3 set up. Lucy right now throughout the show is going to be monitoring. If you're watching and want to participate, whether you want to make predictions, talk about talking points for EA specifically, or tomorrow Microsoft, Bethesda, and then Sony, Square, etc. Just send them in to that hashtag. GameSpot also retweeted a couple of us. Just respond to any of us or E3 with questions, comments, concerns, etc. And Lucy will shout it out.
Yeah, I'm not like just bored on my phone here. I am
Yeah.
just looking at what everyone is saying.
She has since given up on EA. Rob, you're a huge Battlefield. Oh yeah,
I was
let's
gonna
start one
say,
off.
like,
we'll dive in after. We'll start off. Yeah.
Where do we want to start? Okay, so we have Nicola64777 says, is Dragon Age 4 getting announcement?
Mike Laidlaw is going, but that doesn't mean he's not even working on Dragon Age anymore, right?
If you want to talk about BioWare stuff, their new big thing is going to be Anthem.
Yeah.
So we know that Casey Hudson's down. Who else is there? Mike Dyer is going to be there. The release date apparently has leaked.
Oh yeah, what was that? February
like half an hour ago.
19th?
February, yeah.
Early February next year.
Yeah.
They are going to be showing a lot, I think, of Anthem. Especially like EA been saying like, oh, EA Play, we're going to show new gameplay. We're going to be focusing on the Javelin, like the suits.
Right.
We're going to be, going in depth and kind of exploring the world a little bit more. So I'm excited to see more from Anthem.
Oh, for sure.
I want to know if it's going to have that BioWare magic. Like if it's going to actually...
Yeah, are they going to go full in on trying to take down Destiny, the Division, or are they actually going to introduce the narrative, which, like, BioWare needs a win?
Yeah, we talked about this in our pre-E3 video, which is available now on GameSpot's YouTube channel. We talked about how it's kind of a big make-or-break moment for BioWare. Maybe not in the future of the studio, but the identity of the studio. They've always been known for creating these incredibly deep, well thought out worlds that have characters and a really engaging and intricate story. But every attempt at that for the past few games has been kind of muddled and hasn't really hit in a big way. Like Dragon Age Inquisition is a great game in a bunch of different ways, but it hasn't kind of like it didn't have the strength in storytelling and character that I feel like the others did. Similar for Andromeda.
I mean, we were saying the same thing about Andromeda. I was saying Andromeda was a make or break moment for them because I personally didn't think too highly of the Inquisition. I know a lot of people did. I felt like it was a little bit lifeless compared to what made Dragon Age, what made Knights of the Old Republic, which made their previous series great. Even like Jade Empire, I liked. But that's to go back way farther back. But I do, man, like they need something because again, Mass Effect Andromeda. At that point, I was saying that needs to be great, and we know how that turned out.
Like I think I was the same case, but then kind of we rationalized it by saying it wasn't the main studio that we know and love. You know, it was a new studio. There's kind of like circumstances that you can kind of sweep that under the rug with. New studio, a bunch of people trying to follow up the end of an arc with something new. This is BioWare, like the core studio that we know and love. Like a lot of them many studios are involved, but like this is kind of like their thing. Like if these guys don't make it land, then we've got a problem with BioWare's identity.
BioWare Montreal specifically, who worked on Mass Effect Andromeda, has since dispersed until to multiple studios. And now, but the lead writer on Mass Effect Andromeda is working on Anthem. You guys were talking about.
Kathleen Russart is now working on it,
which doesn't immediately concern me because again, I don't think Anthem is going full on and like pure RPG. Obviously, they're trying like to be reductive. It looks like a Destiny killer from everything we know. It's got 4 different rigs, classes you can use, which it looks. I'm super into it. I mean, the gameplay didn't show a ton last year, but what we saw, like Rob, you were just talking about the traversal with the jetpacks and whatnot. That looks dope.
It looks so dope. Like if that's really the case here, right? Like, if you get hit by anti-air fire and just like drop into a lake to avoid it, like that mobility, that Iron Man-esque
Iron Man's like those exoskeletons.
I think
that's
that,
exciting.
I think that one of the key differentiators for this could be like story. Like, you said just now, they might not be leaning too hard into it. From my perspective, they should lean really hard into the story because one of the Destiny's biggest failings for me is the story is, to me, incomprehensible and
because it wasn't even in the game.
Unless you want to go
online.
The way that BioWare can really kind of differentiate and distinguish their take on it is by having this world that's like engaging and gives people a reason to stick around longer than they do with Destiny, where it's like we're going to play long enough to do a raid, the new expansion bits, and then we're done. They want to aim to be World of Warcraft, where they have the gameplay, they have the loot, they have all that stuff, but it's the world and the characters and the lore that people really stick around for in a big way.
All right, Lucy, you got a Twitter question?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, it was just directly leading on from that. K_custom_props was asking, does Anthem have a single-player mode, or is it just multiplayer? So I think this is where we're going to get clarification on where those two are going to intersect. From what it looks like, the way that this first gameplay demo they showed works, like, you can just do things by yourself, and your friends can seamlessly drop in and out. I'm interested in that, but like I feel like the single player stuff for me needs to have some kind of consequence beyond loot. Like I need to have different story options, different quests open to me based on hopefully decisions that I get to make as a player.
I want to bone aliens.
We want to bone aliens.
You pervert.
Come on, BioWare, that's what we want to do.
Give me a Krogan.
We're looking at 2 of the rigs right now.
Krogan, huh?
That's what I'm going for. I need a challenge.
It's always during the pre-show where your fetishes come out tomorrow. So this is what we're talking about. This traversal looks awesome. This looks like it could be one of the differentiators.
I would do this all
I love the idea.
Yeah.
I love the idea that everyone's like, can you really make a Superman game? And BioWare like, yeah, we did it. Here we go.
Actually, a good question from @the_Seth_within is, should I be worried about Anthem being a disappointment like No Man's Sky or Destiny due to developers and directors leaving? And like, if you have looked at it, Anthem has had quite the turnover in its development phase. But I mean, honestly,
BioWare in general has had a lot of turnover recently.
I think it's heartening to have, is it Casey that rejoined recently, BioWare, and that to me was a moment where it felt like someone recognized that they were in desperate need of leadership and someone to step in that understands vision and can take a product or a game experience and carry it through to fruition. So like having him involved definitely should be a reason to have a little more confidence or faith in it. Nevertheless, like that element of people leaving one after the other is unsettling, but that happens all the time. It just so happens that it happens in most studios. It just so happens that BioWare is a big enough studio that people are paying attention to it.
There's certainly more of a spotlight on BioWare.
Yeah, exactly. So when people leave, and Anthem is a huge game that a lot of people are keeping a close eye on. So when small, changes happen within the studio and within the game, they're in the spotlight way more than they would be with any other game. So
yeah. I would say Anthem is one of those games I am like rooting for.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's one of those games. Like I'm in general, I'm rooting for Microsoft to like come out and show us some surprises. But again, that's neither here nor there right now.
That's tomorrow morning. Make sure you tune back in.
Yeah. There's a plug. Nice job.
Thank you.
But yeah, Anthem. I'm really excited. Like it's funny. Like you've been pretty excited for that all along. I mean, we all have. But like the closer we get, like you're watching last year's gameplay reveal, the more we talk about like the failings of Destiny, especially Destiny 2, and like the the grief that Destiny 2 players have been giving Bungie for taking a few steps back since the Taken King days.
Yeah.
And then of course they're going to show what's that called? Forsaken is the next one they're going to be talking about. Who knows what they'll do with that at this point, but. I hope Anthem does really well.
A good BioWare game is just incredible for the entire industry.
Yeah. It's been how long since we got one? I mean, again, you could argue there's merits with Inquisition. I personally didn't love it, but I think it was objectively a decent game.
Dude, that Trespasser DLC was really good.
I never played
incredible.
that.
And if the series goes from like where the ending of that DLC left off, like I think it's going to be strong. So the tweets, there's a lot of them. Guys, Skate 4.
Skate 4 has been...
Basically, like, Skate 4 is kind of taken over here.
Have you heard about that their Instagram account for EA? No. Everything, you even heard about this? Everything they ever put on there, it's just Skate 4. Like, check out Ori and the Blind Forest. It's like, where the hell is Skate 4? It's littered, like thousands and thousands of comments on Skate 4 every time. Like, they have to be aware of this.
They've been aware of it for years.
Yeah, they know, but whether they actually make good on it, I just don't know. Like, it's going to be tricky for them, right? Like, they stand back and they see Tony Hawk come back and try and put out a new game.
Oh, right.
Like, the problem with that Tony Hawk game was it was bad.
That's a problem, yeah.
That is a problem, but it was bad.
Do we have any Skate fans on set right now?
I liked Skate.
I don't. So explain the appeal of. Okay, I don't mean to explain the appeal. Like Rob was just saying, explain the die-hard dedication of Skate to me.
I think Skate is the Dark Souls of skating games.
All right. Cut to Moore's mic for the rest of the week. He's getting a. He's
you
out
had
here.
one chance.
No, I don't know what the diehard. I played it as someone who really didn't like. I'm not a fan of skating. I'm not good at skating. Like it was just something weirdly like intricate about playing Skate. It was like
mechanically,
mechanically. It reminded me of like most people love to dig into systems and kind of figure out the upper ends of how you achieve like little kick flips and that kind of stuff. So it was really difficult. And although I didn't play it for a really long time, I think the physics is what really got me.
Okay.
Like, it was funny to me, like to try and do a trick and absolutely destroy my face or fall over and like really, really screw it up. So that was like fun. It had limited like kind of longevity for me. I gave up after the slapstick wore off.
Dude, the Skate fans are coming after you.
Yeah, no, I think Skate like.
That's Timur Hussein on Twitter.
At Timur H.
I think there's definitely room for a Skate game, but I don't know if there's. I don't know if the investment. The worry is like the market. It's such a niche that EA would look at how many people realistically would buy a Skate game given the history and then kind of scale development to meet that. And in that scenario, like you're not going to get a super crazy, like in my mind, if they put a Skate game out, it would be a digital only Skate game that's kind of using the assets of an old Skate game, maybe up-res in some capacity. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's fine. If I was them, just remaster Skate. Just find an old one and like remaster or something like that.
Well, the chat is also asking about remasters. Effigial, I don't know how to pronounce that. At Effigial, do you think they will do remastered versions of any of the Mass Effect games or the Jade Empire game? Well, related to Skate as well. Do you think they would?
Oh shit! Related to Dead Space. I don't think that's gonna happen. But of course, Visceral is not an entity anymore, unfortunately. But that was my thing this morning. When I woke up. I was saying, what is my like dream of E3? Or no, sorry, not E3. Well, maybe E3. EA. My dream is like a new Dead Space. Obviously, I think that's best case scenario. But without Visceral, I would be pretty apprehensive about it. But Dead Space remastered, the whole trilogy would be. That's what EA could do. That would make me happy.
Yeah.
Dead Space 1 at the least. That's the best Dead Space in my opinion. But the whole trilogy, that would be amazing. I would absolutely love
a Mass Effect remaster of the entire series, just for modern consoles.
That'd be great.
Yeah. It genuinely
especially the
infuriates
first
me
one needs it.
Yeah, like that you can't go back and play them. Well, you can play them on Xbox One.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I just feel there is so much love for that franchise, for the old games especially, and I feel like not remastering them when Andromeda was coming out is a real missed opportunity for EA. because they know that the market is there for that.
I would love a remaster of the Mass Effect series. I think they would more be inclined to do that around the time a next Mass Effect thing happens, to kind of like build momentum for that again.
They have such like a PR hurdle with any Mass Effect announcement.
I think like they've pretty much shelved Mass Effect for now, so it could be years before we see a new Mass Effect, and in that scenario, I think it might be a while before we get a new Mass Effect remaster collection. I would love it though, because I have the urge to play that series yearly, and like just having it should be their Skyrim. Like just put it out on everything. People always want to play it, and like just put it out. So who knows?
Rob, I know you've been pretty much itching to talk about Battlefield, another huge title. We've got people down in LA today playing, right? Is EA Play like a little bit later today?
Yeah. After the conference.
We got Aaron, a few people down there. Tony's down there,
Eddie.
but Eddie's down there.
A little jealous of those guys.
It's okay, you're here with us.
So you were on the live stream for Battlefield 5 reveal that EA did, DICE did, which they didn't really say much about the game, but behind closed doors, Aaron heard a lot about it. It sounds like they're going in a cool direction, despite all the dumb controversy around that reveal trailer.
It's a trailer.
In terms of like tone, that trailer, we were all kind of like, it looks a little too actiony, but I think I differed from people in the office. The more I thought about it, I was like, it feels like they're being pretty honest about how people play those games, which I like. But of course, we're going back to World War II. But what are your impressions overall about the game, Rob?
Overall, I think it's smart, because I can't deny that when I first saw it, I was like, oh, really? Like they're really going for it as far as prosthetics and this trailer. Can I say one thing? It's the one long tracking shot that I find frustrating. It's showing off.
It's like early Scorsese.
It's so ridiculous. But that is Battlefield, and you're right on that respect. But I think it's meeting a lot of tones that I would want to see when you really think about, World War II. Call of Duty was last year, and that was very serious. I think even though it's been so long since we've gone back to World War II, I feel like that's still tired in a way. Yeah. And I think they're also meeting best of two worlds here with fans who love Bad Company, right?
Yeah.
That humor, that ridiculousness of just that getting launched out of a plane, like.
I'm glad you brought up Call of Duty World War II, because I think that was a missed opportunity to use World War II again as a comeback for World War II. I mean, I think it was a very boring game in general, even for Call of Duty. I mean, which kind of live and die by their multiplayer for most people. But this looks great. Like you're actually like outfitting an entire company instead of one character.
A lot of cosmetics.
Completely in control of cosmetics. But of course, this trailer was supposedly, Aaron was saying, DICE and EA were saying, most things you see in this trailer are trying to indicate something about multiplayer. So he's talking about fortifications are a big deal as far as
there's like crafting and such. So you can do only crafting. Anyone can like build trenches, barbed wire, sandbags around, I guess, fortifications. So I would imagine flags, capture points. And it's a nice addition to, you looked at like something like Battlefield 1, where some arguments around like that San Quentin map
and Scar,
where you could level the entire map in a way because it's destructible, and then you got no cover, right? So in this game, they're implementing sandbags, so you can rebuild a house
and a lot of
something like that around flags. So you have actually somewhere.
A lot of the flags were like useless. Like, I mean, they got you points and tickets, but outside of that, they had no strategic purpose. This sounds like This sounds like it gives me the option as a person who plays defensively in games like that. I know it's not RTS, but I like turtle in RTSs. I like to like capture stuff and hold it. This sounds like that's an actual viable option. It's not going to be this flag in the corner of the map that no one's going to go to aside from getting points.
So a question from our Twitter hashtag. If you're using hashtag GameSpot E3, we're going to read out your tweets, read out your questions, your predictions. LPGod84. What's the chances that Battlefield 5 will have a battle royale mode? I really hope not. Could we get a jar?
That every time someone mentions.
Like, no, for like every battle royale kind of
every actual announcement or question? Because the question will be too. We need a huge jar.
There were actually reports about this, and the reports were saying that all of this is obviously unconfirmed. The reports were saying that a battle royale mode is being tested by DICE. They're trying to figure out whether they can make it work. I'm reticent to say that they'll talk about it today or even show it off or even mention it in the interviews coming up that they have throughout E3 unless prompted. Most will get, we're looking into it or it's something we're considering, because that is very much what they're doing. I imagine like it's probably of all the games that you can think of, it's the best setup for it, right?
Yeah.
It's got the open map. It's got all the different items and classes and ways to get around and
the scale
of it. Yeah,
flanking,
exactly.
the pressure points.
Exactly.
Like you look at Call of Duty, you know, like that feels a little bit of more of a little stretch. Yeah, like 15-minute games is what I think of Call of Duty.
The interesting thing is going to be how they release it, because Battle Royale is very much dominating the first-person shooter like language right now. Everyone wants to be part of it,
and you have some stiff competition. The most successful game out there.
But who knows how long that's going to last? So if they're going to do what everyone thinks, which is introduce it later on down the line, it could be trickier for them. The longer they wait, the worse off I feel like they are. Like they want to strike while the iron's hot and be part of the conversation when it's happening, but also kind of leverage the marketing and the kind of buzz around the new Battlefield itself. So personally, I think that I would want them to do it sooner rather than later, but I still think that we won't be seeing much of it until now. I get the feeling that it's
because Black Ops 4 is going to be showing theirs off, presumably. Well, we know Black Ops 4 has Battle Royale. What's that called? I forget the name of the mode specifically. My apologies. Blackout, thank you. Yes. And they're going to be showing that. They already have more competition in addition to Fortnite, PUBG, which are already
huge. There's a
Titanfall
Battle Royale.
That's
3
a rumor. Battle Royale rumors. But you mentioned, Battlefield being, the franchise itself and the structure being well suited for Battle Royale, and I agree, especially where Battlefield 5. It seems like the Grand Operations mode specifically, Aaron was telling us, behind closed doors, they were telling him that they are going to be focusing on supplies and survival. So again, it increases your the usefulness of flags and capture points, but that also, your ammo will carry over into the next round.
Yeah,
so
like
you end with one magazine, you'll have just one magazine the next round in Grand Operations. So it sounds like at first I was really optimistic. It sounded like they were taking aspects of Battle Royale and putting them into Battlefield rather than just putting Battlefield into a Battle Royale. If that makes any sense at all. But and that excited me because I like Battle Royale. And I think, as opposed to, I know you were just saying like a lot of people are worried it's a bubble that might burst, and I think I agree with you. Like if they want to get in on it, I think they should strike while the iron's hot. But I think it could just become this ubiquitous. It already is a ubiquitous mode, but like it could become just as ubiquitous as like team deathmatch in the future in shooters. And rather like with the conversation revolving around Battle Royale, I would rather see games continue to innovate like Battlefield sounds like it's doing. Sounds like they're focusing on the right aspects. And then just like having, like you said, Battle Royale down the road, rather than being the focus, just be this, hey, this is a great bonus.
It also, just from what you were saying, it almost sounds like they're cherry picking in a nice way, where it's not like a mode that you can see in a list, but it's like, the scarcity of ammo, which they are doing.
Yeah.
I believe they tweeted something the other day about like, I can't remember exactly, but they were showing images of like airborne troops launching out as by means of spawning, just little snippets of what Battle Royale is and what makes it interesting. Because like I think they also said they're gonna ditch the in Battlefield 1 it's like the zoom out when you die and the zoom back in. They're gonna drop that and have spawn points that aren't necessarily like used instantaneously like being on the field, but like having a cool kind of like a cinematic drop with a couple buddies like to like capture a point. Like that seems really neat.
Yeah, the DNA of Battle Royale has always been within Battlefield as an experience, and I think like of all the games that are going to be attempting it, it has the kind of best chance of really striking it rich and doing something big with it. The audience for it is primed. They know how to play that experience there. And like the great thing about, for the most part, DICE's games are polished. Battlefield perhaps more than others. Because of the scale of it, it has its moments where it breaks apart.
Minus like server issues at some launches.
That's the one thing I'm really interested in, like a fully formed, polished Battle Royale experience instead of one that is iterating over time, because that's something that I struggled with PUBG and even Fortnite a lot of ways. Like I came in and it was like, this is an experience that is rough around the edges, but in many, many, many ways. But I feel like the first company to put out a really polished, non-buggy kind of like, this is almost as good as the single player or multiplayer kind of thing, could really draw some attention away from the other titans of the genre like PUBG and Fortnite.
Yeah, and I think Fortnite is at the crux of all that because they are more polished and everything. I think they are nailing it as far as, and it's also a free game, so as far as the public getting into it. But man, that game is such a phenomenon.
One thing I have to see and I want to know about Battlefield is runways.
Yeah.
I want runways in this game. I want to take off again.
If you're
from a runway and land, so bad.
I thought you meant like a fashion kind of thing. That's like,
That's
okay.
what Matt Paget did.
Yeah. Friends of GameSpot will know Rob's our resident pilot for any game that allows him to be, especially Battlefield from back in the 1942. Battlefield 3 days.
That was when like gaming
Before
became a little bit of a problem growing up, where I got yelled at a bunch of my parents, like, get out of the house, please.
I'm more interested in this Battlefield than ever before because one of the things that I struggle with Battlefield is that the scale is too big for me. Like I'm one of those people who will spawn somewhere and then get shot by a sniper.
Battlefield 1 especially.
By like a pixel from the other side of the map kill me.
And that was a problem in Battlefield 1 specifically.
Yeah,
it felt like Call of Duty on a huge map.
Yeah, and like the idea of introducing like gadgets and weird like tech and that kind of stuff, claws and weird, like really leaning into the madness, it gives you something to kind of do in the moments where you're running into a battle, for example, or like something to think about. Just the standard military warfare infantry boots on the ground stuff is not interesting to me. I wanted to get
boots
all
on the
of them
ground
quickly. Boots on the ground warfare, military modern, all that business.
Sure.
Immersive,
built from the ground up to be visceral. That stuff it very quickly loses my interest when I'm running across a map only to get killed instantly by someone who's been waiting for me to run by.
Sounds like they got
airdrop. That's why that seems like a really cool idea. Like totally changes.
Now you can get sniped while you're parachuting down. No, but there's also combined arms mode, which sounds like a cool alternative. That's more of a co-op. It sounds like it's their like alternate answer to horde mode almost. You drop in, you have one objective, you do it, and you get out, and you don't have to complete it. Based on the press kit that they sent out, you just have to, you get points for your company to put into experience. It reminds me, this isn't a deep cut, but it's a weird comparison. Did you guys play Hell Jumpers a few years ago?
No.
Hell Jumpers.
Hell Divers.
Hell Jumpers is Halo ODST. Yeah, Hell Divers. Yeah, that game was dope. That was what you did. It was like a procedurally generated. You drop in. This was third person, like isometric overhead view. But you drop in, do an objective, get out, and you get points based on what you succeed in. Sounds like what they're doing with combined arms a little bit.
Yeah,
that sounds cool.
Yeah, random objectives. Like make your own call. Like, hey guys, we are out of ammo. Let's abort. Let's take what we got.
Yeah.
So if they go according to schedule, EA will start in about 3 minutes.
Okay.
They are doing their own pre-show right now. So Jean-Luc's in the back room. He's going to tell me when they end that. So we might go a little bit into 11 o'clock Pacific. So I just want to talk about a few more things before we get there. We can talk about sports.
Unravel 2.
Unravel 2 was
the big one.
like a leak, purported to be released during the show, right? Like according to rumors. And then there was a photo you just showed us of it act like a
someone's playing it and
supposedly
didn't change their privacy settings.
Yeah.
Rookie
Naughty.
Unravel 2. I never do that. I love to brag to my friends. I got Battlefield 5. What up? Yeah, the friends that I pretend to have. I want to talk about, there was Madden. We got FIFA.
Those will be there.
Nick Margarita is our sports expert. He's doing production right now, but
he's mad at us for not talking about Madden.
He's grinding his teeth right now.
So, but he was hoping, he's curious if like Madden continues with their long shot mode, I believe it's called, which is their story, because according to EA, they took like 4 years to make that story mode. So we're wondering if that's going to be a yearly thing or if they're even going to continue
does
that.
the yearly thing now, so.
Yeah, with Alex Hunter. You accidentally said Alex Jones.
I did accidentally
Which
say
would
Alex
have been,
Jones.
I would have played that.
FIFA Wars.
I want them to lean into the crazy
Alex
sports
Jones.
again. No, if they want to put Alex Jones, that would be hilarious. But I want them to lean into the extreme sports stuff again. I wish they'd bring back stuff like
lions on a field.
Lionel Messi is an alien. I have proof.
Bring back SSX tricky style stuff.
You
like
had Steep. You could have played
Steep.
Steep.
Oh my!
Where's
Lord.
Alex Newhouse when you need him to talk about Steve? That'll come during Ubisoft, but
There
that's
will be
Monday.
more steep.
They tweeted an image of Steve.
Yeah, there's going to be more steep stuff for sure.
Cool. Sorry.
From the chat, do you expect much, if any, news in relation to Switch games from EA? That was from SM Maloney. I feel like the EA originals, like their kind of indie brand, like Faye came out on Switch, right? And if Unravel seems like a Switch game.
Switch game.
Yeah.
And the sports games will all be there.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I
yeah,
imagine
FIFA.
like FIFA will be there.
You're right.
What if Mass Effect Remastered Trilogy came to Switch?
Oh my god.
Lord. That would be like,
that wouldn't
firstly,
be remastered.
That
would just be.
That would just be.
I mean, I would take
Switch.
that. I would 100%
Yeah.
take that. Portable Mass Effect? Are you crazy?
Dead Space Mass Effect.
All of them.
Whoa, Dead Space Switch. Sorry.
Dead Space Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Dead Space Mass Effect. Hell yeah.
Oh wait, guys, a game that I absolutely 100% want to be announced. At Master of Snuggle tweeted Garden Warfare 3.
That would not be surprising.
Like if they did Battle Royale.
Okay, I'm sorry to cut you off, but EA is about to go live, so thank you for joining for the pre-show. Stick around. We're going to talk about their press conference after, but EA is getting ready to go live. We're going to go right into that. See you then.
Oh my gosh, how cool was that? So that was Anthem. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show. But welcome everybody to EA Play. I'm Andrea Renee, and while you might recognize me from the gaming community, I'm kind of a new face around here. So this year, EA wanted to change things up because they know that I'm both a gamer and a fan. So they invited me to come and host the show. And I think this year is going to be a lot of fun, you guys. I hope you're ready, because we're about to kick the press conference off. But before we do that, EA Play is more than just the show you're about to watch. Right behind these doors, there is a fan fest outside, and it is huge this year. It's a full 3-day gaming festival where thousands of gamers can come and play games for free. Now, inside the theater here, there are hundreds of community members from all over the world who are going to be capturing, streaming, and getting their first impressions of the games that we're going to be showing off here today. But before we can get to that, we've got some reveals, of course. We're going to kick things off with a look at Battlefield 5 multiplayer. Now, I know Trevor Noah gave you the first look. Yeah, we can clap it up. Last month, but we've got some new stuff to show you today. Then we're going to move on to FIFA 19, and boy, do they have some big news, you guys. Any World Cup fans? You guys excited? Ah, it's going to be awesome. Then we've got 2 new indie games to share, and then I'm going to come back towards the end of the show with some of my favorite developers to give you guys a nice, meaty look at Anthem. And of course, yeah, we got the woos for Anthem. I'm into it. You want to do this with me? Well, wouldn't it be fun, you guys, if I told you all the secrets at once, right? Well, give him a break. He needs to just enjoy the show. So without further ado, let's get things started.
Right, it's time to kick this thing off. It's been 2 weeks since the reveal of Battlefield 5. And you know what? It's been exciting, there's been a lot of speculation, and so many brilliant remixes of a reveal trailer. But there's also been lots and lots of questions from the community. And we've heard you want to see more gameplay innovations. You want to know how customization actually works, and you want to know more about our take on the Second World War. So today, we'll show you more gameplay and why this is the deepest and most immersive Battlefield yet.
It certainly is. You will be able to dive and smash through windows to surprise your enemies. Where previously defenses were stationary, you will now be able to move these weapons around on the battlefield and gain advantages. And our renowned destruction system is back and more impactful than ever. So, well, you can't really hide from those pesky tanks anymore as they come chasing it for you, as they rip through those buildings. And you will now be able to customize your soldiers, your vehicles, and your weapons, not only for the gameplay, but for the looks, as part of our portrayal of the Second World War.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg in Battlefield 5. You're going to see a lot more of our new gameplay systems here at EA Play from our community. So let's talk about our single player in War Stories.
Yes, let's do that. So we want to tell you about those untold stories that got us excited to start with on this game. It's about, what you will see is really those moments of human heroism. It is about witnessing the war through the eyes of the men and the women who shaped the world forever. Real and relatable people facing the brutality of war. We started off by an exclusive look at the Nordlys war story over at the Xbox briefing tomorrow.
Thanks, Lasse. Something not to miss tomorrow. So, our launch in October is just the beginning. You will all go on an expanding journey through the Second World War. No loot boxes, no premium pass. Every day will bring something new. And as part of that journey, after launch, you'll get something I know a lot of you have been asking for.
Mm-hmm. It's Royale. It's Royale reimagined for Battlefield. So we bring those pillars of Battlefield with destruction, team play, vehicles into this new experience. So we will bring you experience that you haven't played before in Battlefield or anywhere else. But more about that later this year.
So with that, it's time to show you what makes Battlefield so special. It's the unmatched intensity of our multiplayer sandbox, and this time, it's even more epic, fighting across multiple maps and modes. Welcome to your next Battlefield experience, and this is your first look at ground operations. And this time, even featuring music.
Ikke en dråpe. Jeg elsker deg.
Sus!
Quando eu era criança, sempre sonhei em tornar-me um campeão. É preciso determinação e vontade de vencer. Até mesmo nos momentos mais difíceis, tu tens de continuar a acreditar. Esta é a tua oportunidade de te mostrares ao mundo. Tu és um campeão.
Want my name in the rafters, name what you after, pain in the past. She reigns a champion.
That's the UEFA Champions League, the pinnacle of club football, where the world's best clubs compete and icons of the game like Gerrard and Cruyff cemented their legacies. The world's biggest league joins the world's game. And a special thanks to the legendary Hans Zimmer and LA's own Vince Staples for collaborating with us on the trailer. And I really love the trailer because it captures our epic vision for how the Champions League comes to life in FIFA 19. And Lena's going to tell you a little bit more about that.
As Aaron said, the UEFA Champions League is an amazing addition for the game. It's where football's biggest heroes like Ronaldo and Neymar clash every year. And it's the place where champions rise. And you've been asking for this for a long time, and we are thrilled that it's here. And that's why we're bringing the Champions League across the game. There'll be an authentic Champions League tournament mode. Your club will chase this trophy in career mode. Alex Hunter will pursue Champions League glory in your story mode, The Journey, and in FIFA Ultimate Team, there'll be live and authentic Champions League content. And we'll share more details on that along with all our other Ultimate Team features later this summer.
And all that's just the beginning. As you know, the heart and soul of FIFA is gameplay. And this year, we're giving you the tools to control the pitch in every moment, from your tactical approach to the match to each technical touch. And we know how passionate you are about gameplay, so we've worked hard to shape and refine our vision for FIFA 19 with input from our community. From hands-on tests with beginners to detailed feedback sessions with FIFA pros. And we're going to be sharing a lot more about gameplay throughout the summer, but what I can tell you right now is that the quality bar in gameplay was raised yet again this year. So we look forward to everybody experiencing the game on the hands-on sessions this week. And also, of course, we're extremely excited for everybody to play it when we launch on September 28th. And that's our FIFA 19 news, headlined by the UEFA Champions League. But I just wanted to take a minute to pause and reflect. Standing next to this trophy is a little bit surreal. You know, growing up, there's two iconic trophies that every young player dreams of winning. And for your club, it's this one, the pursuit of Champions League glory. But for your country, it's this trophy, the World Cup. And with the tournament starting in just 5 days, we're excited for the world to compete for it in FIFA 18.
As you can imagine, all of us on the FIFA team can't wait for the start of the World Cup. And we want to celebrate with FIFA 18 players, which is why we've just updated the game with a free World Cup experience on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PS, PC, and Nintendo Switch. But you can take Ronaldo and Portugal to their first World Cup victory. Or you can write your own story with some great nations who didn't qualify this year. Or you can make a crazy dream a reality for your home country, like mine, Iceland. Who would have thought that a nation of only 350,000 people would ever qualify? And you can feel their excitement.
Apologies to any England fans in the room, that might still sting. And Lena isn't the only one who's excited. FIFA 18 players are loving the World Cup experience so far. But we don't want to stop there. We want to invite everyone to come and join the celebration. So I'm pleased to announce that for a limited time, FIFA 18 complete with the entire World Cup experience is available for a free trial on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and on PC through Origin Access. Yeah, you can download and play the entire game right now for free. So to kick off the trial, we've got some of the world's biggest creators who are going to be playing live at the end of the show, representing their nations in a little mini World Cup tournament.
And this summer will bring so much more for FIFA fans. Plenty of FIFA 18 content centered around the World Cup, and we'll bring you all the details on FIFA 19. But in the meantime, let's all enjoy the World Cup. Thank you, and auf Ravistan!
I'm coming through, breaking in that window in the kitchen. Bang on and get the chance. That's how I made this beat. From the end, my name, you have for me. And if you didn't know, I need it right away. So when you see us in the street, better keep running. High horse of a we coming.
It is the big day. On the biggest stage. At the World Cup.
Good morning. EA Sports, FIFA 19. You know, the FIFA community never rests. 20 million people from 60 countries playing in competitive leagues this year. Well, the FIFA team never rests either, bringing the Champions League and the World Cup and so much other greatness to FIFA this year. We can't wait for you to experience it all. We've got so much to do here today, but I want to welcome you to EA Play. It's our third EA Play and our second one in Hollywood, and we couldn't be more excited to have you with us to share all the games that we have to show you. We've got lots to do, but before we move on, I'd like to share just a couple of things. The greatest disruption to the consumption of entertainment media in the last 5 years is the combination of streaming plus subscription. As consumers, watching movies, watching TV, listening to music, reading books has never been easier. And we believe that disruption is going to have a profound impact on our industry in the next few years. And so over the last couple of weeks, you will have seen that we announced a new team from Israel has joined Electronic Arts to help our investment to extend our thinking and extend our pioneering into this cloud gaming world. For many people, that's going to mean extending the experiences they already play on our partner platforms. For others, it's going to mean new games and new modalities of play across a whole variety of platforms. But for everyone, it's going to mean playing games anywhere, anytime. So this week, we've got a tech demo running. All of our games streaming in HD from the cloud to multiple devices that you'll be able to try out for yourselves. Now, it's not quite ready for full market prime time yet, but it is a promise of what we hope to bring you in the future. The second part of that, of course, is subscription. And we started subscription a number of years ago, and many millions of you have signed up and experienced the joy of being able to have full access to a great catalog of games. Today, we're announcing Origin Access Premier. So 3 things you need to know about it. Origin Access Premier will bring you all of our new PC games, starting with Madden NFL, back on the PC for the first time in over a decade. Then FIFA 19, Battlefield 5, and of course Anthem. And there'll be many more titles in the years to come. Second, you get access to the Vault, our library of over 100 games from EA and other publishers. And third, it will launch later this summer. So that's a little later in the year, but if you want to get started right now and experience the benefits and joys of subscription, come in and play a free trial of Origin Access, our base subscription, this weekend. Thank you and have a great show.
Think you got a chance, but I don't see how. Got a real tight grip when I hold that crown. My life been good and bad and all around. The more things I lost, the more I found. Came here ready to fight on this night. You better just run for your life.
Hey everybody, what's up? So I'm here sitting inside the crowd at EA Play, I just happened to find Mr. Vince Zampella here in the audience from Respawn. What's going on, Vince? How you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I love this stuff. I love seeing new games.
I mean, someone's super excited about that man on PC, right? Yeah. So, you guys may have seen that Vince was tweeting yesterday, and there has been a bunch of speculation. So, you want to just get right to it?
Sure. I mean, we're not ready to show all of our stuff yet. We're working on a bunch of stuff. It's amazing. The teams are kicking ass. But we wanted to bring a little tidbit. So we've been working with Lucas on getting the name and kind of the setting for what our Star Wars game is going to be, and we're going to talk about it right now.
Oh, you guys got any guesses? I bet you the internet is going wild right now.
I hope so. So the Star Wars name is Jedi Fallen Order.
Woo! So Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, so it kind of gives you some idea that you'll be playing a Jedi.
So does that mean I get to like hold a lightsaber?
Yes.
So Vince, you got anything else?
Well, it takes place during the dark times. Trying to be a little vague here, but when the Jedis are being hunted, so it's going to be spectacular.
So for all the hardcore nerds out there who want to know like where in the timeline, like between which episodes is it?
Between 3 and 4.
Okay, all right, between 3 and 4. That sounds like a nice time. You got any other tidbits? No?
It's not a nice.
It's a dark time.
It's a dark time.
Bad time. Does that mean it's gonna just be all dark and serious?
It's amazing.
All right, so I think people are now anxiously want to know, like, when can we play the game?
It will be holiday of next year, 2019, not this year.
Sorry to dash any hopes.
No.
But now that we know, we can set expectations. We're all going to be amped up, and hopefully we'll hear more from you maybe next year.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Vince, it was great to see you. Thanks for stopping by the show today. We do have a little bit more news on Star Wars, so I'm going to toss it over to Dennis.
Hello there. My name is Dennis. I work at DICE in Stockholm on Star Wars Battlefront 2. I'm really happy and excited to be here today, so thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit. So we launched our game in November of last year, and clearly we didn't get it quite right. So instead of coming out of the gate sprinting like we really wanted to, we had to take a step back and make sure that we were delivering the game that our players really wanted. So we decided to completely overhaul our progression system and add a bunch of new character cosmetics for players to collect instead. So from there, we added a new hunt mode inspired by the original Battlefront games that I loved personally, starting with the Ewoks on Endor. And thank you. It turned out to be by far the most popular update of the game, and the team loved building Ewok Hunt. So, as you might know, we're currently in our Han Solo season with content from the movie coming next week. It's headlined by the new planet Kessel, a really dangerous place, and it features the return of one of our favorite modes, Extraction. So looking forward a little bit, this summer we will be introducing a new squad system to the game, which will allow you to team up much easier and play with your friends. We're also adding a new starfighter mode focused around dogfighting with your hero ships. And looking ahead a little bit more, we will also be delivering a new large-scale multiplayer sandbox experience focused around capturing command posts and attacking and taking out capital ships. But that's not all. We know that you have been asking for new heroes, villains, and planets from a certain era that features a very iconic Star Wars conflict. So I'm excited to confirm that Battlefront 2 this year will be going deep into the Clone Wars. It's only fitting that we begin on the planet Geonosis, featuring multiple levels, including the largest level we have ever built for Battlefront. So let's talk about the heroes and villains. First, let me introduce the most powerful droid, the leader of the most powerful droid army in the galaxy, General Grievous. And yes, he will be going up against my own personal favorite, Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Finally making his debut in Battlefront after all these years. So, but we're not done. That's not it. They will not come alone. Joining them is the Dark Lord and leader of the Separatist Alliance, Count Dooku, as well as someone to bring balance to the Force, Obi-Wan's unruly Padawan, Anakin Skywalker. The team at home is extremely excited to be building all of these cool things. EA and DICE are committed to Battlefront. We had a rough start, but I really think that this game has a bright future. Thank you very much for playing the game, providing us with your feedback, talking to us. Together, we will make this the greatest game that we can possibly build. There would be no Battlefront without you. So thank you, may the Force be with you, and enjoy the rest of E3. Thanks.
Hi, it's really good to see you. In Unravel, we used yarn to symbolize love and the bonds between people. In our new game, we tear that bond up right at the start. You lose everything, including your spark. But when things are at their darkest, you find hope. And you form a new bond. And your spark is rekindled. And it leads you off on an adventure. So welcome to Unravel 2. It's a game about fresh starts and second chances. These two little souls who refuse to give up and who build something new and beautiful together. And the whole game is inspired by that spirit of optimism and togetherness. You see, it's all made to be played with two characters. You can play it alone, or you can play it in co-op with a friend, but there's always two characters there, sharing one yarn and working together to get through this adventure. This game, it's quite different from the first. It's both friendlier and more challenging, but above all, it's a lot more playful. And we think it's a worthy successor. And I want to show it to you now, so I brought some help. So please welcome Michael to the stage. He's a producer at Coldwood. And we're going to try to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about how you can play the game in co-op with yourself, essentially.
So this wasn't prepared.
So when you're playing it by yourself, you can essentially pick up the other character and carry them along through the more fast-paced segments of the game. And we actually tried to include a bit more of those because we figured that since it's a co-op game, we wanted to have more like thrill and danger and kind of wow moments. places that were like fun and exciting. And then when you get to the more puzzly areas like this, when you're problem solving, you can split apart into two and switch back and forth between the two characters, because that's how we've essentially designed all the problems and puzzles of the game, that you're always working together and helping each other out and utilizing this bond between you to overcome any obstacle that you come across. So I guess I'll jump in at this point.
Yeah, come join me. So I'm gonna be the red one.
Okay.
You'll be the blue one.
I'll be blue. A little celebratory flip there. And the bird is back. Oops. Okay, playing it safely now. Oops. I'll swing.
All right.
Nice. And I'll catch you.
There you go. Can I swing now?
Okay, you go ahead. So here it goes.
Oh.
Okay, this is the scary part. Let's see if we can do it. Got it? Oh, very nice. Oh, faster. Oh, sweet, well done. Okay, I'll go up and distract the grouse. You can.
I'll sneak up here.
Okay, your turn.
Yeah, look at me. There you go.
Keep him over to the left. Now I'll go.
All right. I'll pull you up.
Here.
There you go.
Now we can breathe again.
Yeah, finally.
Or can we? So that's a quick little look at Unravel 2. Yeah, I really hope you like it. And before I go, I just want to send some love to the team back home, because working on this game has been a completely amazing team effort in so many levels, and everybody has worked so hard. So there's a bunch of us from Coldwood here, and thank you to those, and thank you to everybody back home, and thank you. Love you.
Till Queendom come. Till Queendom come. My Queendom come. My Queendom come. The sea waves are my evening gold, and the sun on my head is my crown. I made this Queendom on my own, and all the mountains are my home. Till Queendom come. Till Queendom come. My Queendom come. My Queendom come. My Queendom come. My Queendom
Thank you, Martin, and the brilliant team at Coldwood. The game is really strong. These guys have done an amazing job, and it's clear that they have a lot of passion, and I can't personally wait to play Unravel 2 with my kids. But what's even more amazing is that we will make Unravel 2 available to everyone today. Yep, you heard that right. You'll be able to take these two Yarnies on their next big adventure starting today. The game is finished, it's out. So thank you, Martin, and thank you to the team at Coldwood. Back in 2015, we started on this journey with the original Unravel to seek out the most creative, independent developers and bring them into our EA Originals program. It's been our way of helping these creators bring their unique games to the world and to tell their stories. And last year, if you remember, Joseph Fares was up here on stage representing his team at Hazelight and The Way Out. And I think we all kind of remember that. And you might even remember him from the Game Awards as well. I think I did. Anyhow, in March, that game caught fire. It's innovative, it's fun, and it's something fresh and new, and you all loved it. We saw over 2 million players in the first 2 weeks. And A Way Out is such a huge success that Joseph and his team are expanding and moving into a new studio. So stories like this drive our industry, and it's why we will continue to work with independent developers to help them realize their dreams. Which leads us to our next EA Originals title, from a little game studio in Berlin called Joe My Games. When I met this team and I saw the game, I was instantly drawn to how personal this story was. It's one that carries a very powerful and important message, and it's unlike anything we have ever done. So please welcome Connie Gepper to the stage from Joe My Games to tell you more about Sea of Solitude.
Thank you, Patrick. I still remember during the pitch how enthusiastic Patrick was, and that afterwards, like, our whole team, including me, were super excited. It actually feels a little bit the same right now. I'm pretty excited, maybe a little too excited. Thank you. We are Yomai, a small indie game studio from Berlin, and we are developing Sea of Solitude, or SOS as we call it. The whole journey from the very first concept to actually becoming a part of EA Originals is simply amazing. Let me tell you more about our game. When humans get too lonely, they turn into monsters. This is at the core of everything you will see, hear, and hopefully feel while playing SOS. What makes this underlying concept so important and so unique is that nearly every human being can at least somehow relate to or remember the feeling of being lonely. In my case, I started writing the story when I felt the loneliest in my life. I think as an artist, you process your emotional world by letting it out and putting it into your art. I'm still amazed how the concept seems to just float out of me right into the hand and onto the paper. I think this is also why so many people can instantly connect with the game, because it's not a made-up story, even though that it takes place in a fantastic setting. In SOS, we try to show how people experience different kinds of loneliness, but also how outsiders, friends, and family see those who struggle. We achieve all this in playful ways so that players who want to simply enjoy a fantastic experience can do so. But player who wants to look a bit deeper can reveal a whole emotional world beneath it all. Sea of Solitude is about a young woman named Kay who is suffering from such strong loneliness that her inner feeling, the darkness, the anger, the hopelessness, worthlessness, turns to the outside and she becomes a monster. The game is about finding out why this happened to her, but also how to turn her back into a human. Ultimately, the goal is to bring all those emotions into balance. Some needs to become bigger, some would be better off a little smaller, but to embrace even your destructive part or your self-doubt in the same way you embrace your joy or your hope. This is what being human is all about. And that's what our game is all about. Thank you.
Is this real?
This world that I live in is empty and cold. The loneliness cuts me and tortures my soul. I'm no child of destiny and no fortune's son. I've just chased you so long now, I'm too weak to run. A new day is here, but nothing is new. Alone in my room, I tremble for you.
Yeah, I'm the one. But I'm not the only one. We are the one. We can shut you down, and we can put you on an island. Crossover. Gather. Gang. And we're balling. Be ready. Because we're coming at you with the squad. Say it how you want. Trust the process. Run as one. Call next. Or be the answer. As long as you hold your course. Just remember though, wherever you call home, whatever your fit, or however you ball, you're on my court. I'm the one. I'm the one. I'm the one. And this is my squad.
My name's Shay Kivlin, aka Young Kiv. I'm from Seattle, Washington. The only goal of mine is really to win the Mountain Belt.
Kiv's been going after that belt since 2016. At some point, he's going to need to get out of this quarterfinal and claim a major.
It's a big night for young Kiv. He's been stuck at the quarterfinals.
And here he is now in his first championship game, looking to accomplish a goal.
3rd and 4, throws it low. T.Y. drops it.
That was a phenomenal read, and Trini's got the lead.
40-19.
I hate losing way more than I love winning.
Oh, we have an incredible matchup. It's a rematch. Touchdown, Kev. He throws it high, and young Kev is going to be your champion.
Can I play you again?
You want to get smacked again on TV?
Happy face, no. Madden 18 champion.
He's finally done it.
Okay, baby, how you doing?
I've been good. You still recovering from that butt whooping?
Wow, already starting. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Juju Smith-Schuster from the Pittsburgh Steelers. As you guys can see, king of touchdown celebrations. That's pretty fire. I like that a lot. As you guys know, this is Young Kiv, Madden 18, Madden champion. Like, give it up for Young Kiv, y'all. Give it up. Young Kiv, how has it been? You know, your success and your path, you know, to where you're at today.
It's, I've always been a competitor. When I was in high school, I was playing baseball, I hurt my arm. So then I picked up Madden, and at first, I was really bad. I was getting blown out online, but I kept at it. I put more and more time into it. Eventually, I made my first tournament, but I had a big decision. It was the same time as my graduation.
Wow, okay. So the key to be the #1 player in Madden is to hurt your arm in baseball. That's #1. #2, you said you had the decision to go to your graduation or go to a tournament. So, like, what did you do?
I chased that money. I still got my diploma, but I chased that money.
There you go. We're out here chasing money. That's awesome. Okay, now the past few years, how has it been for you? I know you had some ups and downs.
It's been tough. I've had a lot of devastating losses. I've been so close so many times. I made the final on TV and got blown out by all those losses. It made me gain a lot of mental toughness, and that's why I got this belt.
That's awesome. That belt is so amazing. There's a lot of, bling on that belt for you. Well, today, EA Play, first look at the Madden 19 trailer. Super excited. It's going to be so fun. It's lit. I honestly wish I can stay right here and talk to you guys forever, but I'm not going to board you guys. We're going to go out. I'm going to try to take this belt, round 2. So we're out. Have a good day.
You've worked your whole life to get to moments like these. To the very top of the mountain. You battle through the pain and failure. All just to get to this place where you've been told legends are born. You fall so you can rise. And you rise so that you can truly see. See that it was really never about reaching the end of the road at all, but about all the moments that got you here. So, if you were in their position, would you let the moment define you? Or will you define the moment?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Nathanius, professional shoutcaster, here alongside Redwood Studios General Manager Michael Martinez. How you doing today?
I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, we're going to do this presentation a little bit differently and give you your first look at a brand new mobile game in a live, winner-take-all, head-to-head match. Michael, why don't you tell us the rules?
Sure thing. The objective is straightforward. Destroy the opponent's base to win. Unit control, super simple. Just tap the destination, unit automatically moves there. The most efficient way to destroy the opponent's base is with this giant nuclear missile in the center of the map. Control the missile by standing on a majority of the control points. A bar fills up while the missile is possessed. Whoever controls the missile when the bar fills up will fire the missile. Takes 2 missiles to destroy the enemy's base and win. That's it.
Sounds great, Michael. Well, enough talking about it. Let's get to this match.
Absolutely.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have an awesome matchup lined up for you here today. Fighting for the blue side of the room, if you could please give a cheer for one of the most formidable RTS players there is. Make some noise for In Control.
Yes.
His opponent, fighting for the red side of the room, a competitive mobile gaming phenomenon. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Nick at Night. Now, Mike, it's going to be a real clash of these gaming styles and the competitive backgrounds that these players have. It should be a great match.
It really is. I can't wait.
All right, are the players ready? Let's get this thing going.
Ready to go. I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
All right, let's kick this off. Nice little strategy game for those of you out there. It's a good genre. I'm very excited for this. The players are loading in, and we are ready to
the
kick
match. Here we go.
this off as the players' bases have been deployed and the action begins like any strategy game. Economy will be the focus. We have a harvester to start things off. Nothing too crazy yet.
Nothing too crazy.
Now the infantry is going to come out to hold that top point. Both players, of course, trying to take that position. Nick at Night being able to reach it a little bit first in a strategy game. That flank position that In Control is going for on the top side, also very important as Nick at Night's forces have to circle around the center.
Right, let's see if he's able to create a 2-on-1. Is he able to get there? Looks like he's getting there. Here comes GDI with a Rhino. It's going to rip up those infantry.
Yeah, going for the anti-infantry, and like any strategy game, the units that you're going to use when you deploy them will have a huge impact. Your micromanagement of your forces and protecting that economy as well.
Yep. Nick and Knight with some attack bikes in the top. There he is.
And In Control placing the turret on the top right side to help cover that Rhino as attack bikes move towards the northwest position. We can see that the missile is beginning to ready and firing that. That takes out half your base. The most important objective on the map is to hold those control zones.
Right, and In Control making a lot of progress to that far right side of the match.
Yeah, he's done a great job of holding that down with the turret, and now he's redeploying his vehicles to the south side, bringing out more infantry to deal with the attack bikes. And as that economy ramps up, of course, we're seeing bigger, more powerful units come out. We have there the drill pod coming in the left side to help flank those
some flamethrowers. Right, absolutely. Again, those are going to tear through those infantry.
Yeah, and In Control brings out his first tank. That's going to be used to try and help push back these smaller forces as he makes his way to the south side. That missile passing halfway now.
Oh,
Both two zones in control of Nick at Night. He will have the missiles. We see it starts to point towards In Control's base.
Let's see if In Control can get around to that top corner, able to halt that missile. He does contest the missile, putting it into the yellow position.
Yeah, very important, of course. Blocking the pathing of those units is another big factor for this strategy. Holding those locations is so crucial as In Control begins to secure the northwest spot. Another tank's going to come out from Nick at Night to take it out, but now he's bringing out the Pipple as well to help lock down that north position.
This missile is very, very close to firing. Let's see what's going to happen.
With another turret, In Control flanks. He takes the top, that missile, and that fires off.
Wow.
And Nick at Night, one shot away from being knocked out here, as the next one will start to ready up in just a moment's time. In Control's very heady artillery forces are doing a great job at taking control of the map.
Yep.
And we can see as more of Nick and Knight's forces move up towards that north position, those harvesters, of course, very crucial, very important to protect those, as your economy allows you to get these big late game units. The units are going to come out a bit more slowly as you get more of them on the field. But In Control is just spreading his forces out, trying to hold this advantage that he's had so far.
Nick and Knight is trying to get in there, but there's a great turret placement from In Control, blocking and just ripping through again those infantry.
And we see In Control now moving his tank towards this
another drill pod we're seeing with some flame tanks.
Yeah, bring in the flank. Of course, those flame guys do amazing damage to the infantry, help to clean that out. Meanwhile, two more tanks coming out from Nick at Night to try and secure those positions. He brings out the laser infantry on the south side as well to deal with that tank. Going for counters, trying to scout out and see what your opponent is doing and make the proper response is so important in strategy.
Absolutely. Nick at Night cruising around, thinking about harassing those harvesters, coming around the far side for those rhinos. Looks like he's really pressing it.
And we see that missile is starting to get close to firing with 3 zones In Control for Nick and Knight, looking to set things back the other way. In Control trying to rally his forces around. He doesn't want to engage with just 1 or 2 units. He wants to move all of them together, create a good flank position, and take over that south.
And we're seeing the first mech unit from In Control. This is the Wolverine. Gonna rip, and this is watch out for this missile.
And Nick and Knight's gonna fire that one off and settle for next missile is gonna end it.
Next missile wins. Let's see what happens.
We'll have control. The Wolverines, as you pointed out, for In Control coming out to try and deal with these forces. But Nick at Knight's done a great job of getting map presence and now also harassing the economy of In Control.
There he is. Yep. Wow. Okay, we've got our first mammoth tank on the board. If In Control can get this in position, he's going to do some serious damage.
That missile just passed halfway ready. He's also bringing out his first air unit to deal with those.
A lot going on here.
It's got a lot of range, that big boy, and In Control just needs to hold.
This missile is nearly going to fire.
It can be stolen at any point.
Where is it going to go? Is he going to be able to get it off?
He's got it, Max.
There it is!
He's going to take it. Defeating Nick at Night here 2-1.
Dude, that was epic. Amazing. What a match. Thank you so much.
That was awesome.
Any thoughts, guys?
I just came to make mammoth tanks, so I've done my job.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That was awesome. We saw a little bit of everything right there.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Let's hear it for Nathanius, Nick at Night, and In Control. Ladies and gentlemen, what you just saw was the worldwide reveal of Command & Conquer Rivals. Rivals reimagines the real-time strategy experience for mobile. We're giving players complete, continuous control of their armies in quick, competitive head-to-head matches that are fueled by skill and strategy. Now, Rivals will be coming to iOS and Android devices, but I'm excited to announce that Android players can play the pre-alpha today. So head to the Google Play Store, search Command & Conquer Rivals. The studio has been having an absolute blast playing this game, and we can't wait for you to play. Please let us know what you think. Thank you.
Command and conquer for a new generation. Now, before we close the show with a spectacular epic anthem, I wanted to share a few final things. I am blessed to be able to work with some of the most creative people on the planet who come to work every day to create amazing entertainment. And what I can say about all of those teams, and what I can say about us, is that we are always trying to learn and listen and strive to be better. And so, as you look at the 10 experiences that you're going to see today, and as you play games this week, there's some things we hope come through. First, that at the very core is choice, is that you as players get to choose how you play, what you play, when you play, and what devices you play on. That in making those choices, you feel you are treated fairly, that no one is given an unfair advantage or disadvantage for how they choose to play. That for every moment that you invest, we know that you put so much of your life into the games we make, and that for every moment that you invest, you feel like you are rewarded and you are given value for that investment. And most importantly, that the games are fun, that we move past the grind, and that these are experiences that truly enhance your lives. And so, as we think through all the things that we're trying to do, know that we want to be better, and that we want to make great games. And that as much as we love making games, and as much as you love playing them, there's something that is even greater that we can do together. The power of this community when we come together to do amazing things is profound. Last weekend was the 3rd year of our Play to Give program, where we show the world how the power of play can be a positive force for social impact. Millions of you out there participated in 9 in-game challenges in our games, logging millions of hours in support of Play to Give. And to celebrate that, we contributed a total of $1 million to 3 charities that share our vision for a more inclusive world. A world where representation and equality are not something we strive for, they are the standards. And where bullying and exclusion are not an everyday thread. These 3 organizations, the United Nations He for She, PACE's National Bullying Prevention Center, and Ditch the Label, an anti-bullying organization, all are doing great work, and we're proud to support them through Play to Give. And thank you for your support. Thousands of us at EA and millions of you together doing immeasurable good because we love games. Thanks for being with us, and thanks for the incredible privilege of making games for all of you. Now, without further ado, let's take a look at Anthem.
The gods vanished and left our world in chaos, creating, altering, destroying. The anthem is all that remains.
There's a storm coming. These walls can't protect us forever.
Destroy us all.
You guys have seen it a couple times, and it's still cool every time I see it. So I know all of you, like me, have had tons of questions about Anthem since last year because we're all BioWare fans. So we're going to do something a little bit different for the rest of the show, and we're going to take a deep dive into Anthem. So I'm going to bring out some members of the BioWare team to chat with us. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Casey Hudson, Mark Dara, and Kathleen Routsard. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for coming out today. Just got a little game to show, right?
Yep.
It's going to be very exciting. So Casey, we're going to go ahead and just jump right in and get started with you. So now we know that you all started, or Casey, you started your career at BioWare way back in the day, but you took a couple years off. But before you came back, you actually worked on Anthem before you left.
Yeah, that's right. So, you know, first of all, it's amazing to be back. It's awesome to be making games for BioWare fans. You know, we have the best fans. So it's been super satisfying to come back to it. And, you know, I just want to be able to continue the legacy of the studio. And that's kind of where it started with Anthem, is just thinking about, you know, what is the evolution of a BioWare game? And we wanted to create a brand new world for people to discover, you know, a whole new world of story and character. But we also wanted to do something that was, you know, more of a dynamic and living world, a game that would change every time you came back and played it. We also wanted to do something where, you know, if you wanted to invite your friends into it, then you could do that as well. So that was really the initial vision of the game, not an MMO, not a multiplayer game with story sort of bolted on this side, but something new and different, and I think the team has really captured that vision over the years.
Your fans really love the stories from BioWare, but I think we're kind of curious how you're planning to make story work in this shared world.
So a great story for BioWare is really about characters that you can have a connection with, choices you get to make, and feeling like the story is about you. In a lot of multiplayer games, those things get diluted because you're mixing multiplayer and storytelling into the same areas. Now you can build a solution to that, but you have to really build it into the core of the game. And that's what we've tried to do with Anthem. It's what we call our world, my story. So when you're out in the open world, the world is really dangerous and you're focused on your mission. And this is where other players get to play with you. The thing that's really interesting about this, it's unique for Anthem, is that this is a living shared world. So whether there's weather or it's nighttime, what we're experiencing together. Everyone that's playing Anthem at a moment is seeing the same thing. And this is what we mean when we talk about our world. It's a shared world that we all experience together. But then when I finish my mission, I come back to a base like Fort Tarsus. And this is a single player experience. I turn in my rewards, I talk to some characters, I experience the choices of my action. And this is where your story really lives and breathes. And by doing it this way, we're able to combine that impact and agency of a single player story with the fun of teaming up with your friends to play co-op in combat.
And we're also designing it so that we can add story for years to come. So one of the first things that we hear from our community is they want to continue to play in our worlds. When they've finished Mass Effect or Dragon Age, players want more story. And so we've designed Anthem in a way that we can actually add more story for years to come. And it could be anything. A new moment with a character that you've grown to love, or an event in the world that deepens the lore, or an entirely new storyline and plot.
Well, I'm certainly not going to complain about more story. I don't think anybody out there is going to either. So Kathleen, I wanted to ask you, from a writing perspective, since you are the lead writer, can you speak to what it's like to create a new world like Anthem from the beginning?
Well, what's really exciting for us, and not just the writers, but all of the devs, the designers, the artists, is that we're creating something new and mysterious for players to discover. So at the heart of the premise of Anthem is a world left unfinished by the gods. But the gods left behind their massive tools, and those tools are in constant conflict with this unknowable force called the Anthem of Creation. And the chaos of those things pushing against each other means that the world is constantly being reshaped in new and unpredictable ways.
Yeah, violent storms, mutated creatures, gigantic monsters. it's a dangerous environment that you need to wear a suit of powered armor, a javelin, to be safe in.
Now, something I think a lot of players out there maybe don't stop to think about is just how much work goes into creating a new intellectual property or IP, as we've been saying. Now, we've seen all these different creatures, and Mark, you mentioned the storms. What's the process of creating a game like from scratch?
Yeah, it's something we've done a few times at BioWare. And really the hardest part is getting started, just kind of getting off the blank page. So what we try to do is we think about the new experiences that we're trying to unlock for players. So like, what is the fantasy fulfillment? What are the new things you actually get to go and do that are different from what you've played before? So that's where we start. And then once we think about those things, that's the power of creating new IP, especially for games, is that you actually get to build a whole fictional universe that's meant to bring out a certain experience. And then once we do that, then we still need to build all the rest of the stuff, and what unlocks us creatively is to think about like principles around art style, tone, and even the technology and the politics of our new world. And then from there, we can actually go and build out every last detail.
Yeah, and one of the unique challenges for Anthem is that it's a world, an experience that's meant to feel alive, like it's happening right now. And so the world is always changing, whether the storms, seasons, and yeah, it's a really great concept to write for, because what it means is it gives us the opportunity to drop into the world, almost in real time, a dramatic event that changes the world for everyone. And that could be anything from gameplay to lore.
I mean, all of the moving parts in the dynamic world sound really cool, the way that they sound like they're going to come together. But even though there's obviously a lot going on, it really all comes back to your character. So let's talk about who we're going to be playing as and why we're fighting these crazy beasts.
So you are a freelancer, uniquely skilled to pilot these Javelin exosuits. And you need those suits to survive and fight in this world, because the world will kill you. But on top of that, our ancient rivals, the Dominion, they've discovered a way, they think, to weaponize the Anthem of creation. And so we need to stop them and protect the free people of Tarsus.
Now, I've heard you call this power armor a couple different things. Is it a suit? Is it a javelin? Like, what's the canon term here?
We call them javelins, and there are 4, and they each have unique abilities. There's the Ranger, and then there's the Colossus, the Interceptor, and finally, the Storm.
Yeah, so each javelin gives you a different way to play the game. But the thing to remember is, like Kathleen said, you're not your suit. You are a freelancer, a pilot, which means you can decide which suit you want to use based on your mood, based on the mission you want to engage in, or the javelins that your friends are using. So really what this allows us to do is we've built the suits to look like they're built from the materials of the world. So they each have their own unique abilities. So let's take a look at the Ranger now. The Ranger is a more generalized suit, able to do a lot of different things, really designed for up-close and personal combat, one-on-one for the most part. The Colossus is heavier, more specialized, but able to really pack in big weapons that let them devastate the battlefield.
I'm just going to say the Storm looks like it's going to be my favorite. I'm sure you guys out there are picking your faves right now, too. So the javelins look awesome, but we're going to take a couple questions right now. So Casey tweeted, some of you may have seen, asking for people out there to send us your questions. And the first one is going to be from @It'sSweetNicole, who asks, as a player who is all about making their character their own, what kind of customization options will be available in Anthem?
Yeah, so we really want players to express themselves, both through customizing the way their javelin plays, through gear and weapons, but also being able to personalize the way that it looks, both through paint jobs as well as changing the actual geometry of the suit itself. We want teams to be able to do this as well. And because you're going to be using a javelin for a long period of time, we really want you to be able to make it your own.
I'm glad you brought that up, because actually, Jay Legato has a question connected to customization. Monetization. How, when, loot box, cosmetics?
Yeah, so we are going to have some cosmetics and vanity items that you'll be able to purchase, but you're always going to know what you're going to buy before you spend any money on it. So no loot boxes, no ability to pay for power. So that means no ability to spend money on gameplay advantage at all within Anthem. But even more important than that, we want to make sure that Anthem is an immersive experience that feels like it's complete from the get-go. So that means a main story, a big open world, and an ongoing service that provides new content for a long period of time. New story, new experiences for everyone.
Well, I'm glad to hear that I can make my javelin pink. That's really all I wanted to know, I'm going to be honest. All right, Casey, we talked earlier about this being a co-op experience. So can you tell me a little bit about how the team gameplay in Anthem's going to work?
Yeah, it really is about, you know, the fun of teaming up as a team of superheroes and working together. So you want to get a few people together of different classes. So, you know, I think here we're going to see the Colossus, you know, just hammering people on the ground in gameplay, if we can have a look at that. So heavy artillery, being really strong, you know, in melee combat. And then here you've got the Ranger shooting down from above. And then they're using combos and special abilities and stuff like that. But what I love is you don't just run around, you're swimming and flying as well.
So it's interesting because at the Slate Tones wants to know, how will you balance multiplayer with single-player storytelling?
So Anthem's really built around trying to combine the impact of having your own personal story with the fun of playing with other players. But we really want to make sure that, that playing with other people feels like a choice. So for people that want to just experience the story, you're going to be able to do that. Now, going out into an open world like this by yourself is going to be a little bit more challenging than if the team of 4 people. And we've really tried to balance the co-op experience to be fun, even for people that don't normally engage in this kind of thing. So I really hope that everyone at least gives co-op a try.
Okay, that's good to know. If you want to roll solo, you can, but it's just going to be a little bit more difficult. Well, I know you all are on the edges of your seats. How about we show a little gameplay? Yeah? You guys want that? All right, so Kathleen, I think you're going to set this up for us?
I will. So, you and your friends have decided to play a mission called Scars and Villainy. The Scars have put together an acid-based super weapon, so you got to take them out. So you start in the Strider, which is like a giant walker, and it's your forward base of operations. You have a conversation with your crew, Halleck, Faye, and Owen, and you'll hear Owen. He's going to talk us through the mission as we experience it here. And yeah, then you just get into your javelin suit and you head out with your friends.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mark, Casey, Kathleen, for talking to me about Anthem today. We're going to go ahead and roll the gameplay now. Enjoy, everybody.
Freelancer, time to get to work.
Faye said these bastards made some kind of acid. They're using it as a weapon. So, find where they're making this garbage and shut it all down.
Owen, what's the plan here?
Picking up loads of scars nearby. Take a look around the area, but be careful.
Right. Checking out the Scar Camp some more.
Look at all the weapons! Oh, and the turrets! Better move quickly. There's a Shaper relic. Wait, something's odd. Get a closer look, would you? See those radiant pieces of energy? They're echoes from the Anthem of Creation. Loads of scars nearby. Be careful. Return them to the relic. You've got to silence it fast. It's gone silent. Disaster averted. Do you think we get a bonus for... Wait, something's happening.
What the hell was that?
I think that was whatever laid all the eggs around here. The sound came from below your position. On the plus side, this definitely counts toward hazard pay. There's a trail of this acid gunk leading down. Follow it, and we should find the source.
Yep, and that was actually just a short version of the full demo that we brought here to LA. So if you want to come by the Anthem Theater here at EA Play, you can check out the game live.
So I'm sure the question on everyone's minds, when do we get to play?
So Anthem comes out February 22nd, 2019 on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC.
So mark your calendars, everybody. Fire off your tweets. Thank you so much again to Casey and the entire BioWare team. I know you guys have that awesome theater outside, so I will see you guys there.
All right.
Give it up for Casey Hudson, everybody. I also want to give a big thank you to all of the developers who showcased their games today and everybody working hard at their studios back home around the world. Let's give them all a round of applause. Now, some of what you saw today, you guys have to wait to play. But you guys, EA has so much available right now. Now, for those of you keeping score, you can get your free trial of FIFA 18's World Cup today. And Andrew told us about the free trial of Origin Access. Yarny is back with a buddy in Unravel 2, which is also available today. Plus, you can take on your friends in Command & Conquer Rivals starting today as well. Now, that's a lot of available stuff that's out today. Is anybody ready to go home and download anything? No? You're like, I just want to go outside into the fan fest. I get it. So, I want to let you guys know to keep your streams going because in just a few moments, the FIFA 18 World Cup live tournament is going to begin. I'm going to head outside and check out the games, but I want to thank everybody for coming down to EA Play today and watching the press conference, and have a great weekend.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to GameSpot's coverage of E3 2018. We just watched the EA press conference. A lot to take in, kind of not a lot to take in. Anthem looks pretty sick. I'm Mike Mahardy here with Lucy James.
Hello.
Rob Hanlery.
Hello.
And Timur Hussein.
Out here chasing money.
We're going to be ignoring the that FIFA stream that they're doing right now. If you feel like you really want to watch FIFA, don't leave our stream. Stay here. We have seen more from EA. We got a release date for Anthem, February 22nd of next year.
Finally.
Good.
What, like, how many? 8 months? I can't think right now.
I can't maths right now.
Yeah, but that game looks awesome.
Should we start from the top?
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
let's start with Anthem.
Wait, let's start with the shout out to if you want to get some questions in, I will be manning the Twitter feed. Please tweet us using the hashtag GameSpotE3 and we'll read out your questions, comments, concerns about what you've just seen, all of your cries for where the hell was Skate 4.
Yeah, or Dead Space.
Or Dead Space. Or
All
Mass
right,
Effect,
Anthem. They showed a little more of all 4 rigs, the classes that we'll be playing as. Casey Hudson was there. Mark Dara was there.
Kathleen was there.
The writer of Mass Effect Andromeda and
now
Anthem. This game looks cool. People seemed a little bit annoyed that it was mostly a Q&A, but they showed some gameplay. They showed a lot toward the end. They showed the Colossus was the one they showed a lot. That rig's kind of like the tank,
like a
heavy weapons
shield.
class.
The big lads. Oh, when he brought out that the grenade launcher thing, we all kind of went, whoa!
Like cluster fire missiles and stuff.
They talked a lot about how it'll be a world that you could play solo or co-op. Although Mark Dara said he hopes you play co-op, but those are kind of just buzzwords for all kinds of games like this, I would imagine.
Reassuringly, they mentioned story a few times, which was good. Kathleen was on stage. She is obviously the writer. They kind of laid the foundations of what's going on. The gods have left, and creation's a bit weird. They didn't quite clarify what the anthem what is. Anthem?
It's either a
It started
force,
as
like
like the home base. It felt like
I thought that, but
they
then
said like the Anthem was the only safe place.
then it sounded like it was the force, kind
it
of
was
like
the
magic
anthem
energy.
of creation. which was like an event, right, or something. I don't know.
I felt like it's the Traveler's Light.
Okay. Yeah, it's something nebulous and incomprehensible that will kind of string the story along.
Right.
But I'm interested in seeing how they build out quests and that kind of stuff. The stuff that we saw during the gameplay demo at the end was very much kind of standard fare for a demo, which is like, oh, we're gonna go over here and do this thing over there, and the kind of the flavor text that was supporting that was very generic. I want like a standard strike, right? Very standard strike stuff. So I mean, like the stuff that we really want is the stuff that we know BioWare for, the world building and that kind of stuff. And they didn't quite show how they're gonna approach that.
But they did say in a very cool way, Kathleen was saying that they were building the game so that they could add new story content for years to come. Hopefully in a very seamless way rather than like, oh, it's a new DLC, so it's going to be a new area that you can only
That
really
all just sounds
visit.
like buzzwords for like updates.
And she was
I hope it's done.
She mentioned like quite granular changes, like the way you interact with a character could change. So that made me think, oh, it's just like they want to have the ability to change the world in small and big ways in a way that, you keep coming back to Destiny and everyone says the same thing over and over again. And eventually you know exactly what you need to do. You can almost tune out. So I think it seemed like they were implying that, oh, you want to pay attention every time you're here because this character that you might always speak to could change like very slightly or give you a little more flavor text. Again, like Mike said, that could just be all buzzwords and like saying, things that who knows how they'll be implemented. But
I believe it when I see it, but I am optimistic.
Yeah.
Just the gameplay alone, this flying, like I saw people on Twitter saying, some of the devs saying that there's like a team dedicated to the flying in the game. They showed, I think they were running with 2 Colossi, it looked like, in this gameplay. I don't think I saw an Interceptor in this demo.
There was at one point, and
then
to touch on that, they kind of showed off a lot of like air mobility, barrel rolls, air combat.
Yeah, there's 2 Colossi.
The way that they were like zipping from side to side.
Yeah, that
in
looked
midair
fun.
was really cool.
Yeah. I guess you could imagine the Interceptor being the more mobile, right? Like
a rogue.
Yeah. I dug that. I didn't expect to see like air combat as much because before it was just a traversal, or in last E3 they just showed it off as like getting from A to B, but that was pretty cool. They look so rickety in a way, like just barely in flight. It's nice.
So a few people on the tweets are asking, Knack_Jonathan is asking, do you think they will add a PvP aspect to Anthem?
I feel like
yeah.
they're going to,
Yeah,
despite the fact it's
mean,
BioWare.
I mean, like if they manage to fit it into Mass Effect, they fit it into Dragon Age. A game like
Since
this.
Mass Effect 3, they've had it.
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah. So that was PvE though, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right,
But I
never
feel
mind.
like that's just a logical step forward for them.
Yeah, especially when you're building out customization to be as big part of the game as it is, you want some way to kind of show that off beyond just a small group of people and you know, kind of pit your rig against someone else, the javelins. Yeah,
customization looked great.
Yeah.
You may have missed it. I saw they went through a whole bunch of like skins and stuff, but there's totally like an all black N7
armor.
Mass Effect armor. Yeah,
That's a good segue. Monetization, they said it's all going to be, there's going to be no random crates. You're going to know what you're buying. There's going to be cosmetics you can buy, but outside of that, they said it's not going to be pay to win. And that seems like a focus of the whole conference.
I mean, that
from Battlefront 2 to
yeah.
Battlefield, they said they've been listening.
Like, with some time away from Battlefront could have been the best thing to happen for microtransactions in a long time. Like, the absolute, like,
it was the evil we
failure
all
of
needed.
that. Yeah, just everyone's just backing away so fast now.
Which sounds good. I mean, seems like I would imagine BioWare wouldn't implement that stuff, but being under EA, who knows? But it sounds like they're being very cognizant across the developers under EA that is bad press and they don't want to do that.
Yeah, and they especially don't want to take that gamble with a game like Anthem, given that they committed so much to it already. And if it's supposed to be like Destiny, it could be like the cornerstone, kind of like the pillar of their business going forward. They want this game to be the game that people stick with for many years. So if they don't, like, they need to have zero friction for people to get into it.
But just think about how like long it's been in development as well. So if Casey was working on it, then he left for like 2 years to go to Microsoft, and then he came back like this time last year. That's at least 4 or 5 years in development, right?
Like, and they cannot take a risk with it and change. Like, they need to be so careful with perception of the game and the discussion around the game, which means that stuff like microtransactions they don't want to dwell on.
Yeah, I mean, Anthem, I think, was the standout for the show. Mainly, they showed gameplay. They focused a lot on it. It was like one of the bigger tier AAA games. Let's talk about Battlefield. Unless there are any other questions on Twitter about Anthem that we missed.
I mean, there's a lot of people asking why we didn't see anything from Dragon Age, but I think it's one of those cases where if BioWare are going to go hard on Anthem, they're not going to split their audience, you would say, and do Dragon Age as well. There have been like tweets and stuff about people working on Dragon Age. I'm certain it's going to happen, but this year is Anthem's year.
They have committed to Dragon Age. They said it's not done yet. So it's just a matter of Anthem is the flavor of the month for them.
So as of now, February 22nd of 2019, you'll be able to play Anthem. Maybe a few days early if there's EA Play stuff.
Yeah,
involved.
there is EA access stuff for it.
Yeah.
What is that? Usually like 5 days ahead of time?
Sometimes like a week. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
10 days sometimes.
Well, I'm excited. I said before, that's one of the games I was rooting for. People seem to know there was a Q&A, but they showed gameplay right after. There's also people I respect, Casey Hudson and Kathleen. But anyway, Battlefield 5, probably the next biggest they showed. They showed a little bit of...
Yeah.
It was pretty... So they announced, first off, Battlefield 5 will have Battle Royale mode.
Just Royale. Does it come
just
with
Battlefield
cheese?
Royale.
Take the battle out.
It's
They already have
just
battle.
Royale.
Battlefield
They said Royale.
Just Royale.
But like if you're saying let's play something, you'll be like Battlefield Royale. Like they're not calling it Battlefield Royale. It's a Royale mode. But to distinguish it from Fortnite and other stuff, I'd say Battlefield
Royale with battle.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
With
That's
cheese.
it. With cheese.
Or cheese.
They announced that, but then they showed gameplay, which at first a few people were like, "Oh, this looks like the Royale mode." God damn it, I hate that already.
It's so hard to just point and say this is gameplay because this is.
Well, no, they said
back
before
and forth.
this that
It's captured in engine.
yeah,
Sure.
but then they also
They had
said
snippets.
like we're going to show new. I don't know. Like I thought it was the war stories at first, but I believe this is actually like the grand operations mode we heard after.
That's right.
Which is the more objective-based kind of progressive multiplayer mode on a big scale.
So yeah, there's the building there. This
In
is
Norway.
a sweet mechanic there with the attaching of like flak cannons to vehicles. That's
Ripping through that window.
That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, they
That
showed
guy's
off a lot of the things that the first trailer showed off. Again, stuff like the new movement abilities.
Yeah, a lot of the granular new movement abilities. Like I just saw a guy like sliding and shooting at the same time, like going back prone. But
A lot of air
backwards.
combat too.
Yeah.
No runways yet though, Rob.
No runways.
Not
No
confirmed.
runways.
It's not gonna happen.
This guy gets shredded by the engine.
Yeah.
Done. Yeah, and even more with animations, they showed off like the aesthetics too that we heard about from Aaron when he did the behind closed doors. like raised knees in like shallow
Oh,
water
yeah.
and like stumbling in snow and stuff. Like that looked pretty cool.
Yeah, so Aaron was saying if you look at someone running into a wall at like full speed, like running to cover, they'll slam into the wall, or like you just mentioned, the high knees, or presumably, you know, like in deep mud maybe. But from your point of view, you won't notice as much, but other people see it, which seems like it's a weird thing to balance, but it makes it look much better, especially like obviously the Frostbite engine is unreal looking already. And that was all the gameplay they showed today was in Norway.
Yeah.
Like when British commandos
it
were
seems
established.
like a very feature-rich game from what we've seen so
Yeah.
far. There's a
Yeah.
lot of like very different modes that are coming. I mean, the Royale thing is, they said they'd talk more about it later this year, which could, I mean, the game, it's unclear whether the game's going to launch with it or whether it's going to be like, hey, the game's out now we're going to start talking about the Royale mode.
Yeah.
But at the very least, they have committed to it, which is something that wasn't confirmed before this.
Well, they said they've got rid of the premium pass, so
Yeah.
you would assume that it would come. You wouldn't have to pay extra.
Yeah,
for
it
it.
would be
definitely
a free
not.
update, yeah.
So they've got the Royale, they've got Grand Operations, they've got War Stories, Conquest. They probably have like an air-focused mode. Then they have, well, Battlefront 2 did.
Sometimes, they
Combined
can
Arms, the
they'll
co-op
roll. They can roll some of that stuff out later, like
Yeah.
they did with Battlefield 1, like the the air assault, whatever it was called in that. That was I think one of the last DLCs for that game, but yeah, it looked really great. Like there was some cool stuff as
That
far
jacket.
as the jacket.
That
Death
hot
Dealer.
jacket.
That
That guy was
jacket.
wearing an absolutely incredible jacket. Sell that, EA. I'll buy that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I will as well.
There's one really cool moment with just the Frostbite looks so good, like where they
Yeah.
run into the building and like snow
Yeah.
slides off
Yeah.
of the house.
Man,
Frozen melted
EA
snow.
really making use of that Frostbite engine.
Yeah.
Like they
Dude,
are
I
getting
mean-
their money's worth out of it.
It's an expensive engine
Yeah.
to make.
I mean,
so
like,
just
Anthem-
roll it out.
Anthem showed it like on a scale that we've not seen before, and like Battlefield is showing it off. The destruction seems to look better than ever. Yeah, it's exciting.
And you can
It's really
build.
cool. You can build
You can
too.
tear down a wall and put some sandbags up.
Yeah, and then you can actually like the squads, because they're bringing squads to Battlefront 2 as well. But in Battlefield 5, apparently squads can heal the other members of their squads, and then medics specifically can heal and
quicker
and improve their health. From what I've heard.
Right. The idea is there's even some kind of mechanic. We didn't obviously see it, but like anyone can heal. It just takes longer for anyone who's not a medic, right?
Yeah.
So you,
Right.
if you were down, knowing that I am not a medic, it's gonna take a long time.
Stick her with some morphine.
Help me, Rob.
Apparently, you can drag people who are down like to
Yeah.
cover and like revive them
Morphine
and
is
stuff.
good.
It's good.
Get back out there, soldier.
Do we have any Battlefield 5 questions that popped up? Because otherwise we can go to.
No, but Time Lady Katie is actually going to call the Royal mode Battlefield with cheese. So we've done our job today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about? I mean, the big surprise was Sea of Solitude, man.
Sea of Solitude, yeah.
That
from
game looks cool.
Joe May, the studio.
Joe May
Joe May,
Studio.
yeah.
And
Cornelia
Cornelia
was on stage
from Germany.
talking about it.
Which is, so this was, they did the Unravel 2 reveal. We talked a little bit about that earlier.
Yeah.
It's available now.
In co-op.
In
we
co-op.
can get to that.
It looked adorable. But honestly, I got really excited about Sea of Solitude.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Just a great idea. Looks beautiful. Looks very melancholy.
I'm still unclear on what you do.
Yeah, there's a lot
Yeah.
of like
It looks
different styles of like traditional how we think about gameplay frameworks and that kind of stuff. Like it looks like a bunch of different game genres that mashed into one. Like there's puzzle solving
Well,
from looks
action
like
adventure
yeah.
kind.
Like there's some atmospheric stuff. Reminded me of Inside that moment, and it reminded me of
Yeah.
Rhyme in a
Tone
lot of ways.
in general looks like
yeah,
Inside.
it looks really, really cool. But like the fact that firstly, she absolutely nailed that speech. That was
Yeah,
great.
that was
like
awesome.
That was
sold that
great.
speech
Yeah, she's very
amazingly.
earnest.
But in talking about loneliness, and you could tell it was very personal to her. Not in a way that it was like, this is a game that I'm working on the same way that like the guys from Unravel did last year and this
Command
year.
and Conquer.
Yeah,
Don't-
it was
don't,
more
man.
about this whole thing came about when it was a deeply personal moment for me. You know, it's born from my loneliness,
Yeah.
and it explores that. So the fact that we can't really get a grip on it is really interesting because it's a personal thing. Like that journey it's the manifestation of her journey, and for us to kind of, if we were immediately be able to say like, oh, it's this kind of game, that kind
Right.
of game, it would be a bit like, it would water that down somewhat. So the fact that I can't get a good grasp of what the game is kind of exciting to me, because it means it will be a more authentic representation of how she felt and what the emotions behind it. But I'm
There are no
excited to see more
FPSs
of it.
in real life.
No,
No.
I don't know.
Just goes to show you.
Tormented Owl says buying Sea of Solitude day one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Day
it's
one. It
early
was a very
2019.
early
Yeah, yeah.
2019. Very, very positive reception to that game.
Yeah.
It's a nice range between that and Anthem and Battlefield.
Yeah. And then
with
Command and Conquer.
sports just slammed it in the middle.
NBA was right after.
So I was gonna go with Command and Conquer. I know that like NBA was right after. And
My favorite showing of the press conference.
Popped Crawdaddy says, I can't believe Command and Conquer finally coming back as a worthless, stupid mobile game. 10 damn years they've let it lie dormant, and now we get a repeat of Dungeon Keeper Mobile. The RTS genre needs a shot in the arm. Can EA go a single year without disappointing
Well, hold on.
fans?
I'm going to
Like,
disagree.
this is
No, hold on. I'm going to
That's
disagree
quite
with
heavy.
that. RTS has had multiple shots in the arm. You're just not paying attention. Look back at They Are Billions. Look at Total War Warhammer. Look at any number of RTS games in the last few years. Deserts of Karak. That's untrue. But yeah, I don't know why they devoted so much time to this game at the conference. And Command & Conquer, just let it be. Red Alert 2 is one of my favorite games. General Zero Hour is a great game. It has how many games are there now? 18, I think.
Yeah.
Just let them be.
I can't believe how long they spent on this.
I think it's worth saying, like, let's not be unfair to the game. Like, the showing of it was annoying. The way they presented it, it's like doesn't need to be presented in a shoutcasting way.
Yeah.
The game itself, none of us have played it. Who can say whether it could be good? Like, who knows? I think the thing that people are walking away with, they're more annoyed that, firstly, it's a mobile game, but who knows? Give it a chance. It could be good. I don't expect it to be amazing, but give it a chance. The reason, that people are annoyed is they spent so much time on it.
Yeah.
And after 5-10 minutes on this mobile game, it felt like just killing time.
Just have a short. The thing is as well, though, like, I don't think you can completely turn away people's criticisms about it.
Yeah,
because,
absolutely.
like, after 10 years, there was another Command and Conquer game that they were going to do a few years ago. They ended up canning. Like, I remember playing a demo of that on PC at Gamescom one year. So, like, obviously people are going to be annoyed. And, like, think EA doesn't also have the best reputation with stuff like this, because you remember what happened to Dungeon Keeper. Like,
Dungeon Keeper was a catastrophe.
EA needs to show people that they're going to do a good faith effort with Command and Conquer. And I feel like this presentation was very misjudged in who they were trying to show it to. So I don't think like you can completely
write off
people's complaints. But sometimes, like, obviously you have to take everything with a pinch of salt. Like,
It's such a huge property, Command & Conquer, that I grew up with. I have no problem with them almost leaving it behind, but they have the brand recognition. But I don't even know if this generation of like people playing games really Command & Conquer is ever on their mind that much. Like, we're thinking like people that grew up on like Command & Conquer, Red Alert 3, like console kind of entries like that. But I don't know. I mean, when I say like they devoted too much time to it, that's assuming that they would have other stuff to show, which I think if they did, they would have. Why did they shoutcast this? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, at the risk of sounding quite selfish, like, why it seems like a weird decision to show this off and spend as much time at a show where they know hardcore gamers are watching.
Yeah.
Like, how many mobile game players are watching this?
Right.
So by showing it off, all you stand to do is upset the people, the hardcore out there who remember Command and Conquer and now are watching you turn it into a mobile game.
Yeah.
When all you could have done was just said, we have this, Command and Conquer game coming to mobile. Here it is for a hot 2 minutes, and then just pay Apple the money to feature it on the App Store, and you've done your job. Like, this seems like a very much like padding out moment for EA's press conference, which was unfortunate.
Do we want to talk about, speaking of briefly mentioning games and then kind of leaving them behind, Respawn Star Wars game has a name.
Boy, Vinny Zamzam got my blood flowing by...
You literally ran in the room when we told you he was back.
Yeah, I was standing out there. We have a pit where all the editors are watching, and I saw him, and I sprinted in here, and it was just like...
The resident...
You got a game name.
The Titanfall enthusiasts of the staff are in here right now, and so it seems kind of funny, like Vince's demeanor, he was kind of acknowledging that it was a weird format, almost, or he was high. I don't think he was high, but he was... So Jedi Fallen Order is the Star Wars game they're working on. That's pretty much all we know.
Sick.
It's set during the dark times between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope.
Yep.
Presumably also before Rogue One. That's pretty much it.
Coming out
Holiday 2019.
Yeah, as of now.
That is it, yeah.
You get to play as a Jedi, confirmed.
You can play as a Jedi, you can use a lightsaber.
So one of the tweets that sadly I've lost now, but someone was saying, were you surprised at the lack of Star Wars given... They touched on Battlefront, they touched on this game.
Oh, I like to talk about Battlefront too. Yeah.
It was like, considering how big the deal is, the deal's running out in a couple of years.
The Motive game, they didn't even mention it.
Yeah.
Didn't even mention Motive, or the open world one, the job listing one leaked. Were we surprised that there wasn't more Star Wars chat? Or do you think even EA themselves are considering, guys, Star Wars fatigue, we can't keep doing this every year?
I don't see EA as acknowledging that we have fatigue, but I mean, it seems like they're trying to capitalize on the solo hype if it exists with Battlefront 2, which we could talk about. Which actually, I was kind of excited by what I saw there. I did want more though.
I wonder if you could say that they were comparing themselves to like last E3, where it was all about Battlefront, right? Sure. Maybe they were trying to just separate themselves a little more. But this
at a certain point,
mode, by the way, is already came out. The Ewok one, it's a blast.
Yeah.
And yeah, you know, say what you will about Battlefront, they're still working with it. This all looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
The squad stuff sounds really interesting. Like that was probably the most exciting to hear for me, at least. Sounds like they're doubling down on areas that need to have attention. I don't know. Like,
the Clone Wars are coming.
Yeah,
Clone Wars. Yes, that was a leak. That was a
arguably-
leak a while ago.
Yeah.
Genosis was like in some PC files. So that
It was
that was
in
cool.
one of
General
the update
Grievous?
files, yeah.
Obi-Wan
Grievous
Kenobi.
people. Oh, you know, there are people who love this game, right?
Yeah.
What's that?
Grievous has been.
What's that
they've been
kid?
begging
Pod
for it.
racer? Forget his name.
Oh God.
Anakin's coming. Dooku's
Some
gonna be in
guy,
it.
he likes sand
He
or
hates
something.
sand. Yeah, it's coarse. and-
Dooku,
Not
yeah.
here. It's
Anakin.
rough and coarse.
And it gets everywhere.
So actually, that does excite me. They're bringing squads to Battlefront 2. Right away, they were pretty honest that they messed up. He said, like, we know we
clearly
messed up.
Clearly, yeah.
I don't know if that's going to bring... I've never played Battlefront 2 at all. Not a single second of it. Preview events, anything.
You know, like as of right now, like I played again a little bit of that Ewok mode. It's how the game should have launched.
Yeah.
Like it's all there. The progression is strong enough. They may do a little too late, arguably, but yeah, I don't know. That was at least it's at least nice to see them working with that game because people are still really into it, and I can guarantee a bunch of fans of Star Wars Battlefront just lost their shit over that Grievous.
Then there's a new mode.
Lightsabers.
Then they briefly mentioned a new mode that sounds like a Grand Operations equivalent. You're progressively taking or destroying new Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's a
They said
dogfight
that-
Oh,
mode.
so it was they're
you
again
did say
like
it, sorry.
they're putting attention into the Starfighter Assault, which I would argue is like the best part of Battlefront because they got Criterion to do the flight controls, so it feels great. The flying is top notch. So I mean, I'll definitely check that out. It's free. Why not?
Yeah. We had sports.
Oh yeah, there was a bit where it was 2 devs, 1 cup.
God,
is the UEFA Cup? What? The UEFA Cup was on the stage,
God's
and they did like a
sake.
slow zoom onto it. It was real weird.
It was.
Well, Lena used to be the Battlefront lady, so she's clearly moved over to the FIFA team. What?
You've
had to make
been
some bringing
waiting
up
for that
FIFA.
the whole time.
Yeah, I was like, no, but you know, FIFA, Madden, NFL.
Yeah.
NFL?
Seems like they're doubling down on
NBA.
story and NBA too.
Yeah, NBA.
Yeah.
People like that,
I
right?
clearly don't know my sports
people
acronyms
did.
very well.
People really liked. Shout out to our hometown Warriors getting the finals last night.
What was the name of that kid? Who
I don't know.
that was another
Young Sick or something like
Young
that.
Kiv.
It was
Young
Young Kiv or
Kiv.
something like that.
Out here chasing money.
Yeah,
Out here
he's out there
chasing
chasing money.
money.
Like that's another thing that, come on, EA, please stop trying to tell the story of like of sports tournament players. No, firstly, they're boring. Secondly, no one cares.
Wait.
not Alex
Oh, the
Jones.
real life people.
No, I'm talking about the real life. Like I'm a competitive FIFA
I was gonna say
player.
people like the story modes in those games.
No, those story modes are fine. That's
I
fine.
can-
I'm
yeah,
talking
I'm
about
confused.
dude who missed his graduation to play in a
He
tournament.
broke his arm and
He
played
broke his
Madden.
arm.
My man.
Playing Madden.
He broke his arm.
No,
in
playing
high
He
school.
broke his arm. He was like, I broke my arm, so I picked up Madden.
Oh,
That's
shit.
like,
Through
The
diversity.
cloud streaming stuff.
yes, that is a
talk about
huge
that.
thing. Yeah, so like that is going to be a theme for a lot of people. I think this E3, the services side of it, Microsoft's definitely going to go huge.
Crackdown 3.
Yeah.
Cloud saves. Cloud destruction.
Sony's going to attempt it, and we were talking about this earlier. It's like they're bolstering their online kind of like game serving services, so that that everyone's trying to take a shot at Steam now.
And now's
arguably
the time
to
of
do
the
it.
press, right?
They're doing cloud service gaming. So, and the interesting thing about it was they were talking about old games coming to a bunch of devices, and they talked about extending experiences as well as creating new experiences. It makes it sound like they've got like, entirely new games coming out
Yeah.
that will only be delivered through cloud services, as well as taking stuff like FIFA and maybe even Anthem and exploring how they can be played on any device anywhere through cloud services.
Yeah, they talked a lot about Origin. Nothing about Dead
So
Space.
it's basically like nothing about Dead Space. It's okay.
Sorry, Lucy.
But then it is like it's basically like Xbox Game Pass. Like everything is coming now, which is great. But also other developers like Warner Brothers is on there right now, right? So
Yeah,
it
so
could
they-
be interested to see how much of that market they're going to try and monopolize.
It's crazy how when Microsoft's original vision for Xbox One came out, it was all this stuff, but
and now other people
everyone
are
went.
kind of nicking it.
And now
slowly
everyone
brought it
is
back
like
in.
everyone is understanding that that's what they were going for and very slowly moving towards it.
For God's sake, people just
It's a
keep
long
using
con.
the hashtag to tweet 2 devs 1 cup.
Fuck you, Tamora. Microsoft on their long con, bringing back all the
On the
stuff that
long
made him, man, filling his long cons.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that we missed? Oh, Unravel 2 we touched on. It's
Yeah,
co-op.
that's
It's
out.
available to play now. Go check it out. I'm sure Pete loves these game releases. He's our reviews editor during the show.
I'm really disappointed in the way that they did the it's available now, because I feel like you could have had the lovely dev who did the original Unravel reveal. Like, he was still so nervous and still so happy to be there, and he could have ended it with like a really heartfelt like, and it's available now. But then they just let one of the bloody execs do it.
It needed like just vents of fire.
Yeah.
It's available now.
I wanted
fireworks. Unravel 2.
I wanted to see him come out after having released one game and being like an absolute baller. Like, he's got chains on, he's got massive like sunglasses, he's got like a hat
Success
on and a
changed you.
cane, and he's like,
Just blowing
I'm
rails.
back, it's me, the Unravel guy, and he's just like super confident. Someone Photoshop that.
When my journey's in.
Yep. Let's go.
Oh my god.
He's been chasing money. Oh my god.
And Joseph Fares, who did A Way Out, is getting a new studio.
Yeah.
He's getting an extra. He's getting more space. So
Another studio in addition to
Yeah.
Lamplight.
Yeah.
Lamplight.
Something like
You
that.
interviewed him.
It's
right?
called F the
Should know
Oscars
it.
Studios.
Yeah. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Patrick Soderlund was like, I think we all remember last time Yosef was on stage. Fuck the Oscar. Anyway,
got
that's
him chained up.
Yeah. His brother's in Westworld now.
He's
so.
on backstage.
Yeah, his brother.
Yeah,
is
you were saying that he's one of the
he's
technicians?
he's
He
hanging out
plays
in Westworld.
Costa.
Yeah.
Watch our
Let's
Westworld
not spoil
breakdowns.
Westworld right now. I'm just kidding.
GameSpot
Any other questions we should get to, or any other thoughts? I'll go around and see what your favorite
Things
thing
we
was.
missed,
So-
things
Things
that
you
weren't
missed,
there.
anything?
Oh, so here we go. Embry Stard asks, do you think Dead Space can be rebooted at this stage by a new studio, or is it gone forever?
Like a Dead Space 4 or a reboot? It could be. I loved what Visceral did. I would be very hesitant about it. I would love it, just to give it another chance.
Sure.
I would. It's so weird. I would love a new game, but I love the Visceral game so much. I would rather get remasters.
It would be tricky for a new studio to do it. But in a world where Resident Evil came back as good as it did, in a world where Capcom made a good Resident Evil.
Yeah, and I'm surprised more people haven't been. I mean, people have been. Between Silent Hills going away, it was such a depressing time for horror. Then Resident Evil 7 comes out and knocks it out of the park.
It is incredible. Like I that's kind of like giving me faith that anyone can do everything if they put
like on a
their mind
AAA
to-
level too.
I mean, not even just horror, but I feel like if a game like Rage can get a sequel in this
Yeah.
day and age, like the brand recognition there doesn't have to be as huge as it was. Like, and you pick a series like Dead Space. Come on.
Sorry guys, we're busy turning Command and Conquer into a mobile game.
Yeah.
No time for Dead Space right now.
Less Star Wars than I thought.
She looks sick.
A little more Anthem, or maybe just about as much Anthem as I thought. More mobile games than I thought.
I am surprised that The Sims didn't show because they have obviously the Seasons expansion pack. And if you saw that thing on Reddit the other
That's an
day,
incredible moment.
So there was a great Ask Reddit thread the other day, and it was like, what is the ongoing drama in your hobby that other people might not know about? And the top comment was, there's a big thing happening with The Sims right now because they're releasing this Seasons expansion pack. People are worried that this snow is not deep enough.
So they did.
And there is genuinely a change.org petition where the Sims fans are really worried about the snow.
They need Frostbite. They did show Sims during their pre-show when we were. Jean-Luc just told me.
Okay, cool.
I don't know
I
what
was
they
gonna say,
showed though. We were.
because Seasons is out like at the end
It's
of
just
the month.
someone stepping in the snow and just going completely through it. Shut up now.
It's just a teaser trailer.
Yeah.
It's like Sims, Seasons.
But yeah, nothing from The Sims, nothing from like PopCap.
No, unfortunatately.
Yeah.
Like
no
Garden
Garden
Warfare
Warfare
is a great game.
Yeah, they are.
nothing Burnout related, nothing
Need for
Speed
Speeds.
related.
No Skate 4?
No Skate
No
4.
Skate 4.
No SX Tricky. Criterion, I guess, are still just working on Star Wars.
Okay.
There was some skiing teased in
Yeah.
Battlefield in the end.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I thought they would go more into Battlefield, but I guess they're saving it for Microsoft.
Yeah,
That would have to be it.
I
so
reckon
that's
that'll be
tomorrow.
it. Yeah. Marsh940 says, did EA meet your expectations or left you disappointed with something that you thought would be there but wasn't? Personally, Anthem was there, so my expectations were for Anthem, and I'm still excited for that game. I enjoyed what I saw.
Yeah.
And I'm just very, very excited about that. And also, Sea of Solitude was a surprise that I didn't expect coming, and it was a very pleasant one. So I actually despite the pitfalls, the thing about EA's conferences is their games cover such a wide variety of
genres,
audiences and genres. It's very difficult to tonally get one press conference that can hit all those notes successfully and make it cohesive. And I think that is something that they have struggled with for years, and I think it's something they're still struggling with. But for the things that were there for me, good.
Yeah,
enjoyed
I
it.
think they did pretty well. Aside from the Command & Conquer thing, not to just jump on it and beat a dead horse, but I don't see the point of that.
If they punched in and out of that thing, no one would have really said much. It was just the length of it.
It should have been one of those quick announcements and then move on to what was next, FIFA.
Yeah. I mean, similar to what Lucy says. We got Anthem, we got Sea of Solitude, which is great. They could have dialed down the how long you spend talking about FIFA in and other sports games outside of the game itself.
Yeah.
We don't need context of a person rising, changing their lives by playing competitive sports games.
It's inspiring if you're into that stuff, but I don't think this is the show to show it. But overall, I think they did pretty well. We are going to be playing Battlefield and Anthem hands-on down at E3, if not already. I know Aaron's already down there. Tony's
we're
down
not.
there
We're
right
going to
now
be
playing.
here.
So we will be doing more chats throughout the week. Of course, we have 2 more conferences tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, Microsoft kicks off at, is it 1 o'clock?
I think it's around 1 o'clock.
So we'll be doing a
1
pre-show
PM,
right around noon, 12:30 again. So obviously come back for that. And then tomorrow night, tomorrow evening will be Bethesda Pacific time, and we'll be covering all of those. We'll also have a bunch of videos from throughout the year rolling about those games, and we'll have demos going up throughout the week and news. Our news team is outside, not outside, but in the room outside of here right now. If you want to catch up on anything you missed, and thank you so much for all the questions. That was awesome. We're going to be doing that throughout all the conferences.
Keep using that
before we go
hashtag.
down. Yes. Then we got our stage show later this week. E3 is officially underway. It's going well so far. I hope it continues to go well. There's a few hitches in EA's stream itself.
It was
nothing
good.
bad.
Yeah, it was good.
Yarny, it looked like they were using, or Unravel looked like they were doing some God mode stuff. I don't know what they were doing.
I just came to make mammoth tanks.
Yeah. Is that what someone said?
Yeah.
I wish that Respawn. I wish that we could see more what they were doing.
Vinny Zam, what's he got up his sleeve?
What's he got under his hat?
What's he got under his hat? He takes it off and it's just...
What's he doing?
Faux hawk. All right. Anyway, thank you everybody so much for joining us. Again, we will be back tomorrow with Microsoft and Bethesda, which I'm pretty excited for. And in the meantime, keep sending questions in and get up to date on all our news. And we really appreciate you stopping by. We will see you throughout the week.
Goodbye. Bye.